kept getting paired to a single groomsman. I'm tired of it. This happened at a wedding I was a bridesmaid at a few weeks ago. I, 35 female, have never been married, no kids, and more than likely will be the last of my friend group to get married. I have been a bridesmaid to too many times to count.
Ooh, 27 dresses.
Almost always I get paired off with another single guy. By the way, this comes from Substantial T41 and on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So my family and friends treat this as an attempt to hook me up with another single guy.
Ooh.
They think it would be so romantic if we tell our grandkids who we met at a wedding. I've never been interested in these guys. At the last wedding I was at, I was paired off with the groom's 42-year-old stepbrother. Off the bat, I wasn't interested in Dave. If I were to see his profile on a dating app, I would immediately swipe left.
This is annoying because I feel like not one, it's annoying that they keep trying to pair you up with someone when you're like, hey, stop. But also two, that they're pairing up with people that like aren't your taste.
They're like getting desperate. They're like, all right, anyone.
Yeah, I'm sorry if my friends know my taste. And if your friends don't know your tastes, they're not your friends.
Not your freaking friends. Back to this wedding. I get through the ceremony and I'm now at the reception. I run into some old friends I haven't seen in a long time and didn't know they would be in town. So we spent the night together, catching up and covertly watching a VGK game someone was streaming on their phone. The bride came up to me and asked if I wanted to sit with Dave. He was alone at a table and wanted to get to know me better. I told her sorry, I wasn't interested, and went back to talking with my friends. If Dave wanted to talk to me, well, he's a grown-ass man and can do it himself. I spent the night hanging out with my friends, having a great time, and didn't think too much of it until a few weeks later. I see the bride at a party, and she doesn't even greet me. She tells me that I was a witch for ignoring Dave.
Oh my God.
Apparently, he thought I was cute and wanted to get to know me better.
Okay, who cares?
Well, then make the move, dog.
She didn't think that. She didn't reciprocate.
Make the move. Make the move. He just couldn't because he struggles with social cues. At least I could have just saw him for a few minutes and be nice to him. First off, I'm sick of being just nice to make a man happy. I told her that I was just there to be a bridesmaid, not to be a mender for a middle-aged man. She still called me out for being rude, stuck up. Which was I the a-hole or was the bride going out of line? One more thing, a few months before the wedding, I started to see a guy I met at a conference. I never told anyone because I wasn't sure if the relationship would last at the time. I don't plan on telling anyone until we hit a milestone because there would be some pushback. It's an international long-distance relationship. Even if I were single, I'm not interested in Dave.
I mean, it doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or not. Your friends should respect that you don't want to be set up with these random guys that you're not interested in.
Top comment, indeed, you were not, nor should have been, a minder for a middle-aged man. If Dave thought you were cute and wanted to spend time with you, he could have opened his mouth and said so. Imagine if you ended up dating or marrying Dave. Then you could be his social coordinator and handholder possibly for the rest of your life. Doesn't that sound like a plan? S. Sarcasm. If you had been told being a date with Dave was the bride's expectation of you as a member of the bridal party, you could have saved yourself some money and time and excused yourself from the whole event. OP says, if I know how to babysit an underemployed 42-year-old man who is twice my size, I would have dropped out of the bridesmaids detail and then retire from the position. And OPT was deemed not the a-hole. We got a freaking update for you guys.
Let's do it.
Update. Hello. I made my last post about a year ago about a wedding, and I ignored the groomsman who wanted to get with me. I didn't get much attention, but the comments were pretty life-affirming. I've been going through a pretty hard time for a few years now. It's frustrating to see your friends that find that one and settle down while you're struggling to navigate your 30s alone, especially when you're from a family and a part of a country where if a woman isn't married with kids by a certain age, something must be wrong with her. Yeah, she's total loco. She's total crazy.
She's crazy.
She totally
She's
like
single?
not with her.
She's a single woman in her 30s.
So
she's crazy.
My family and friends mean well, but they don't see how their actions hurt me. Dave did try to reach out to me after the wedding, but I just blocked him. I haven't seen or do I care to know what he's up to. I stopped talking to the bride. I really didn't appreciate the name calling or being expected to babysit a middle-aged man. Anyway, I wanted to update on this story so I can close that part of my life. After the wedding, I made it clear to everyone I am done being a bridesmaid. I am officially retired. If you're getting married, good for you. I'm not going to be a bridesmaid, not even for all expenses paid bachelorette trip to Cancun. I think the fact I was getting wasted and watching a hockey game with friends at the reception said it all. I'm just burnt out from going to too many weddings. That retirement became official over the summer. I had mentioned that I was in a long-distance relationship. It didn't work out, but it did introduce me to a pretty big career opportunity. I spent a pretty big chunk of my 2024 applying for this gig, waiting to see if I got hired. When I did, close out my life in America. Now I'm living in Australia at a job I love and being able to be my own person. I cut my hair, got some tattoos, found a hobby I love. I have new friends who run the same vibe as me. And we can continue this vibe right now. Go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever it is. Search up OK Storytime, and we can get this vibe going for days on end.
Woo!
Red flag, green flag, right there.
Man, oh man.
You know what, girl? She stood up and said, I'm gonna own my life. I'm not gonna tell people what to do.
She said, I'm not gonna go to a party if everyone's gonna try to set me up with people that I don't want to be set up with.
Yeah, no, dude.
Those are not my real friends.
They're not.
If they were your real friends, they would be like, oh, girl, you're single and not ready to mingle because you're living your life.
That's right.
And you don't need no man.
You don't need no man.
You don't need no Dave.
You don't need no Dave. All you need is you and to make your own mistakes.
I like that. That was nice.
Yeah, and also, like, if you're with friends and they're trying to shut you up, you need to fall in love, naturally yourself.
Agreed. I remember I had a friend. Oh, my God. Oh, still pisses me off. Oh, my goodness. I'm trying to remember what they said. Oh, this guy liked me, and I was telling this this ex-friend, I was like, oh, you're like, I don't like them. And they were like, you need to say yes or you're gonna end up like alone or have to go on like Hinge dates. It said something like that. And I was like,
Does that happen recently?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I was like, what? They said something along those lines.
I was
but it
like,
was very
they
rude.
said that to you? But okay.
No. Ooh, I don't even know who you're talking about.
You went through this. You went through a similar situation like last week.
Did I?
Rest of the story, I don't think I'm going to get married. If I do, that's great. But at my age, I don't think kids are in my future anymore. And you know what? I'm starting to accept that. My family doesn't, but I have siblings with kids so my parents can spoil them. I think I just needed to get away from a really restrictive place in order to find my own happiness. Thanks, guys. I really needed this advice in my life. Still love the VGK, and now I can rep for them down under.
So true.
Let's go. And that's such a good story.
Woo! It's all about loving yourself. Woo!
Yay.
I kicked my brother out of my wedding because he made my fiance cry.
Good. Bye, bro.
My wedding was this past weekend, and I'm honestly still in shock over what happened. My fiance, now wife, congrats, and I have been together for 7 years. We've gone through everything together. Moving in, job losses, her battle with anxiety, everything. So our wedding day was supposed to be our day to finally celebrate all that. Right?
Nope.
Nuh-uh.
Nope.
Also, this comes from Moan Irab 96, and they say, well, it was until my brother decided to ruin it. For context, my brother, 30 male, has always had a weird thing about pranks. He calls them jokes, but honestly, they've always been mean-spirited and embarrassing. We love a good prankster.
Oh, yeah. Just a prank, bro.
Growing up, I'd laugh it off or get mad. And he'd say, I was being too sensitive. Come on. But this time, it went way too far. I feel like the Jackass movies just inspired a whole laundry list of pranksters that don't realize that they're going too far.
A whole generation of rabble-rousers rousing the wrong way.
Rousing the wrong rabble. You know, rabble can be roused too much.
Don't rouse my rabbles.
No, John, I have a girlfriend, Brian, will not be aroused by any rabbles.
Listen. No.
By this time, it went too far. During our reception, oh God, he got up to give a speech.
Yep, there it is.
I thought it would be nice. Sorry, Opie. Maybe he'd say something heartfelt for once. But no! He pulls out an effing slideshow of hilarious photos of my wife. Old ones from her Instagram where she's crying, looking vulnerable, or just super unflattering.
Jeez.
He doesn't stop there, John. He starts making jokes about her weight fluctuations, saying how she used to look like a twig when we first started dating, and now she's more well-fed. Tough crowd?
Yeah. Crickets?
My wife's face turned white out of laughter. No. She started crying quietly. And my brother, did he stop? Did he read the room?
Of course.
No, this man is illiterate.
Yep.
He just kept going, laughing like he was the funniest guy on the planet. The whole room was dead silent. I saw red. I stood up, walked right over to him, and told him to leave. Right in the middle of the speech. All right, really quick. We got way more to this story, but John, would you do that?
Get up in the middle.
Middle
Yeah.
speech?
I think that's what should be done because it stops it from going any further.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's the wife is just going to hear more. Like a lot of the things he's saying might like stick, in her mind like afterwards and
also
mess
ruin
with
the
her.
rest of the wedding.
Dude.
Ruin the
Come on.
rest of
Get him out of here.
Get him out of here.
You know what he needs to? Round up the boys
And kick him
and
out.
take care of it. Like, boys, let's go.
Stick him.
We ride.
Pants him. Kick him out.
Yeah.
Bah,
That's
get him out of there.
Yeah.
That's a laugh.
You know what else looks like a twig?
Oh, got him.
Got
him. I said he was done, and I didn't care if he was my brother. My wife was humiliated.
Also, sorry, real quick. Kimza says, why did he have access to a projector? So please answer me that.
Did no one check what he was going to show beforehand?
Dude, just the malicious levels of actually insane preparedness he has is off the charts.
Yeah. Also, projectors at wedding are crazy. Have you seen that one video of the person that was like cheating on the wife? Or no, the wife was cheating on him with like his best man, and he wanted to give a speech to his wife, and so on the projector he played a video of them hooking up, and then walked out.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So projectors are tools of massive destruction.
Put projectors in your wedding
WMDs.
at your own cost.
Yeah. There's a video out there on that.
Dude, well, I got to watch
It's
that now.
Wild.
Wow.
It's wild. Maybe we can watch it and react to it after this story.
I like that.
Okay, anyway. My wife was humiliated. He tried to brush it off, saying I was ruining the fun and that everyone else thought it was funny. No one laughed. Not one person. He refused to leave at first, so I told security to get him out. There we go. Security coming in clutch. He stormed out, calling me an effing drama queen on the way out. Now my parents are furious with me for embarrassing my brother at my own wedding. They think I overreacted, that I should have let it slide because he didn't mean it. My mom even said my wife was overreacting too, and this was all just part of his sense of humor. My wife hasn't stopped crying since. I told my family we're taking a break from them, but now my phone is blowing up with texts from my mom and dad saying I fractured the family and ruined my own wedding over a joke. I get that I blew up, but I couldn't stand seeing my wife so hurt. Did I go too far? Am I the a-hole? There are relevant comments and an update 12 days later, and it's fat, it's juicy.
Oh.
But really quick, is OP the a-hole?
Absolutely not.
Got him in the first
Not
half.
at all. He got up and stopped. He did exactly what we should have done. Interrupted in the middle because, again, everything he says could stick in the wife's mind, is gonna hurt her more. So stop it as soon as possible, which OP did. He called security over to help deal with it, so he's not the only one. OP did everything right. What is wrong with these parents? Like,
yeah, someone said golden child syndrome thing could be it. I think this brother maybe has had like a leash that's been a little bit too long and no one's ever reined him in. And this is, I think, probably a long time coming.
yes,
Coming.
absolutely.
The one thing I would maybe like if I was in this position, I would privately make a stink, but publicly I would try to smooth it over as to like not draw attention to how bad it was. I would take the I would take the mic and I would probably make like a joke. It's like, well, obviously someone has been doing a little bit too much stalking on this Instagram, but that's my brother. Thank you so much. And then walk him off stage and then go into him privately, because I think going into someone publicly focuses more like discussion on that moment.
This is true.
Which gives it a little bit more gravity, which gives... I think Riley found the video, which gives it like a little bit more gravity. And so I think like for like the the sanctity of like it running well.
I see your point, but raise you one question. For the wife who is like really, really hurt by this, does she see you saying that as kind of like playing along with it and like, oh, it's all now obviously you can later tell her and everything, but like in that moment, does that feel like you kind of have it? Because that was also my initial thought of how to do it too.
Well, I think there's like, I'm just thinking like what ruins the wedding more. Yeah. And I think like more elegantly just getting OP out.
That's enough, buddy.
But in literally a that's enough, buddy does like the same, like a forceful that's enough, buddy. Yeah. I think not to say OP did anything wrong. Yeah. To be clear, but I might have like I might have been too mad to actually do it, but I feel like there might be a little bit more elegant way to do it instead of like I would try to do it in the way that would make it as minimum as a scene as possible. Yeah, and then kick him out a little bit more privately.
Which, in fairness, is a probably easier said than done thing. But yeah, if it's like if you can ideally diffuse as much as you can with it not being as much of a stink, but also if she's the wife's already crying, like it might have reached the point of no return, like especially when she started crying.
Yeah, dude, it's a pretty tough situation. It's a pretty tough situation. It's also like, what would your wife want too? Yeah, 100%. Like would your wife want him to be thrown out like immediately, or like done in something that is, it's kind of more, I think it would be more like, what do you want in this moment? And you kind of have to interpret what that person would want. Yeah,
your best guess.
Yeah. And like OP knows most. It seems like chat wants a big scene, but chat always wants it a big scene.
Deidre Statham though says no big scene. Oh, no.
Big scene.
Oh, okay. I thought DJ was saying, no big scene, don't do that. But he's like, no, big scene, make it happen. Yeah.
I think some people are like avenge the wife, and some people like, I don't want a big scene. It's very dependent on what the wife would want.
Which is why it's best guess on what the wife would want. But like, okay, what would a wife want? Okay.
Wait, Kimberly Fine apparently dropped some wisdom.
Here we go.
Scroll up.
Talk about it.
Silence endorses bad behavior. Don't pathologize BS. Kimberly Fine says his lack of interference would have made onlookers question the strength of the marriage. They were there to support and literally just happened. I think there's like that's enough, buddy. It does it without like making it like, I think you can show force without
making it more of a scene.
Yeah, which is I think there's ways to elegantly do that. Yeah, it's not like you would by no means endorse the behavior, but it's interesting to see that there's like a mix of responses in the chat. Some people are like, avenge your wife. Some people are like, do it elegantly. But we got some relevant comments. OP asks,
Heyo.
Did I go too far? Am I the a-hole? I don't think so. I think you did what was best in the moment.
I definitely agree. Yeah, definitely agree.
Acceptable Wind 7332 says your brother really embarrassed your wife in what was meant to be your special day to celebrate you both. It sounds like he's got a lot of growing up to do, and you are the first one to tell him so. Your wife is now a part of your family, and your brother needs to realize that he has seriously messed up. Your parents have probably been enabling your brother too. He needs to man up and apologize, not the a-hole. Music Mammy says, and now everyone knows what a complete a-hole the brother is. Someone has just got to tell the parents that they backed the wrong child. And Construction Note 9678 says, I'd bet good money that fractured the family means that everyone else now thinks OP's brother, and possibly the parents too, are weirdos for the whole situation. This wasn't a prank. He curated a effing slideshow and roast session for the wedding. It's even stranger because it was completely uneven. Why does he feel the need to pick on the bride over his own brother? Probably because he knew she'd give him the reaction he wanted, and he's an a-hole. Everyone says not the a-hole. And we do have an update.
You know what? This is such a sad waste of a slideshow, because you could have done such a fun like light roasting, like do a picture of the brother like in the bathtub, as a kid, or like with a little goofy little like pinwheel hat on or something.
That's some brotherly stuff.
Yeah, I do some. There's like
I couldn't imagine making Sophia look bad, look like bad in her wedding. Like I might like tell like a funny story or something, but I wouldn't tell a story that would make her feel or look bad.
No. Like
not in a million years.
I think what you would say is like, something embarrassing. Like every time she looks at you, she gets this biggest smile I've never seen. She's that much before.
exactly. Stuff like that.
One real life example, there's an infamous picture, and this is kind of classic of my family. My uncle was asleep, so they took our cousin's wiener dog and then 2 tennis balls and put it in between his legs as he was napping. And now it's a classic pic. It's a classic family
I want to
pic.
see that pic.
That's like that's where it's fun.
I want to see the real pic though.
You want to see that dog?
That dog dong.
I don't got it on me. Sorry, guys.
82% say big scene. They want a big scene.
Big scene.
2% or 18% say no big scene. But let's get into the update
do
right
it.
now. So, hey everyone, I posted here a little while ago about what went down at my wedding. And I just wanted to say thank you for all your comments and support. It's been a rough week, but I figured I'd update everyone on what's happened since then. After kicking my brother out, I stuck to my word and told my family we were taking a break. Good. I blocked my brother on everything, and my wife and I decided to focus on each other for the week. Good.
Yeah, as you should.
Just trying to recapture some of the joy that was stolen from us on our big day. We went on a mini honeymoon to a cabin we'd rented and tried to shut out the drama for a bit. However, as soon as we got back, my parents showed up unannounced. They claimed they just wanted to talk it out, but the second they sat down, it was clear they were there to defend my brother.
What is wrong with
Get
them?
out of here.
Dude.
They kept repeating that I overreacted, that he was just trying to be funny. My mom even said, you know how your brother is. He didn't mean to hurt anyone. I told them that whether he meant it or not, he did hurt my wife. And that is not something I can just brush off.
Boom.
My dad then hit me with, family is family. You don't turn your back on blood. And I honestly lost it. I told him that my family is the one I chose to build with my wife. And if they can't respect her, then they don't get to be part of our lives.
Ooh, got him.
Wow. They left in a huff saying that I was being manipulated and that my wife was too sensitive. The day after that, my brother tried reaching out through a mutual cousin this time, saying he didn't mean any harm and that he's willing to forgive me if I apologize for embarrassing him in front of everyone. This absolutely floored me. I realized in that moment that he still doesn't see what he did as wrong. I haven't responded and I don't plan to. What do you think about that, John?
Dude. It just further clearly proves that I don't know, like I'm like basic, go like super low contact, at least for now.
Yeah, I think you go low contact with the brother.
Yeah.
And maybe it's like, hey, when you're ready to actually come to the table and learn and get curious about what you've done to hurt me and my wife, then we can establish a relationship.
Yes.
But if you can't if you can't take the time to understand how you've hurt us, then you're not going to be involved in our lives.
100%.
For the parents, I think it's kind of the same thing because they're defending the brother immediately, but maybe it's just because like they want the family to be together. I would go very low contact with brother. I would go low-ish contact with parents.
And I think with what Opie said, I'm almost like, not that he necessarily has to act on it right now, like immediately cut them off, but I kind of feel like the parents need to hear that just being said. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't like I'm over, it's done. He's like, if you can't respect my wife, then you don't get to be a part of our life. It's more of this like big warning shot of like, listen, if you continue
down this path,
an inch down this path, how can I keep the relationship with you? You're not respecting my wife. Like this is not going to work.
You're not
if you keep doing
aiming to even understand me and where I'm coming from.
Exactly.
Like that's not a relationship I want to be a part of.
Indeed.
One where I'm not understood. I realized that in that moment, he still doesn't see what he did as wrong. I haven't responded, and I don't plan to. My wife and I have started couples therapy, not because there's anything wrong between us, but because I want to make sure that she feels supported and knows that I'm fully on her side. It's been helping her process with what happened, and I think it's helping me realize just how toxic my brother's behavior has been. We've decided to have a small private vow renewal next year, just us and a few close friends, to reclaim what the day was supposed to be for us. In the meantime, we're focusing on our future together and cutting out anyone who doesn't respect us as a couple. So yeah, maybe I did fracture my family, but if my brother's jokes are more important to them than my wife's happiness, then I'm honestly okay with that. Thank you again for everyone who reached out. And there's another update.
There's
another update.
What?
There's another thick, juicy update.
Sam,
It's
I
not
wasn't
over.
ready. I wasn't even ready.
Get ready. Put the seatbelt on. There's another freaking
Oh!
update.
Let's do it.
So, Faithful Neighbor says, I'm going to do some relevant comments before the update. Faithful Neighbor says, not the a-hole. As we said in your previous post, screw your family. You deserve a good life with your wife, OP. Jellico Alpha 31 says, Mom, Dad, Brother, here's the bill for our wedding and the reception. Until I am reimbursed in full, I'm going no contact with all three of you. I don't know if I would do that, but
No,
that's
no,
pretty funny.
it's funny to say.
And for the record, this is my decision. My wife wants to let it all go and move on, but I do not. You have all made excuses for my brother's crappy, immature behavior his entire life, and now it's cost you one of your children. The three of you will pay for the wedding my brother ruined, even if you have to mortgage your house and work until you're 80 to do it, or this will be the last time any of you see or hear from me again.
Oh my
Not
God.
the a-hole. Holding them financially responsible doesn't mean you forgive them. It just gives you the ability to have a wedding 2.0 without them. And Jewolfie says, I love this response for 3 reasons. Anytime they try to initiate contact, you can reply, do you have the money? No. Okay, goodbye. Jesus, Reddit. The burden in terms of fixing the situation is clearly in their court. No ambiguity. And 3, people who owe you money tend to avoid you. The problem resolves itself. And then we have the update. John, what do you think of that?
As hilarious as it is to read, not the move, because one, what if they're rich and money's nothing, they pay it off and they keep doing it. But even two, even if they agreed to this crazy, ridiculous thing, they could still pay the money and not be changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a change of behavior, which is the actual root cause. So they could just turn right around and then keep doing the same BS to you.
Man.
Listen, as much as I love charging people for their BS,
And John does love that.
and I listen.
John loves to make a nickel.
Someone comes to us and tries to do some BS. Best believe the price is going up.
Darn
Not
tootin'.
here. Not here.
Not here.
Not here.
Not
This
here,
is not
not
the
now.
place. Not the place.
But-
Not the parents.
We got a thick update.
Let's go.
So, hello, everyone.
Oh.
I'm back with another update. And wow, I'm honestly still blown away by how much support this post has gotten. My wife and I have read through all the comments, and it's really helped validate our feelings during this tough time. Thank you all so much for that. A bunch of you suggested I show my parents this post to help them understand just how wrong my brother's actions were. Kind of good move.
I like that.
I did, and let me tell you, the reaction was mixed, to say the least. I sent them the link and told them to read through the post and comments. I wasn't expecting them to suddenly change their minds, but I was hoping they'd see how almost no one is defending my brother's actions. My dad hasn't said much since, but my mom doubled down, saying the internet doesn't know family and that people are too quick to judge. She ain't wrong. Like the internet is too quick to judge, and they don't know the full context of your family.
She's not wrong, but she's wrong.
She's
Like,
not wrong, but she's not wrong, but she's wrong. But the internet out here being judging.
It's true.
The
They
internet
do be judging
judgy.
like crazy. Like the comment of like, oh, make them pay for the whole wedding.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
That's not.
But it's hilarious.
But it's hilarious.
But
That's what
it's
we're here for.
crazy.
We put the goof and give advice goofily. Come on.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, we put the goof. We put the goof in there.
yeah.
She even tried to say that the commenters don't just understand that my brother just jokes like that. Needless to say, we're still not seeing eye to eye. I told her that this isn't about my brother's intentions, but about the harm he caused my wife. And if she can't understand that, then we need more time apart. As for why I didn't punch my brother in the face like many of you suggested, God, I get it. Trust me. The thought crossed my mind in the heat of the moment. I think it's good that you did not punch your brother in the face.
Indeed.
But honestly, I knew that if I reacted physically, it would have taken the focus on what really mattered, my wife's feelings, which is what I was trying to say before, guys, before you're like, oh, Sam's never going to get married because he won't punch a guy in the face. I think it's...
That's why.
That's why it's been so tough for him, man.
Dang, that's what I've been missing this whole time.
But we can fix that easily.
Yeah,
Punch her on the
alright.
face. Go.
But I think what OP's saying is like I want to take as little attention away from my wife as possible.
Yes.
But honestly, I knew that if I reacted physically, it would have taken focus away what really mattered, my wife's feelings. It wasn't easy to keep my cool, but I didn't want to give my brother the satisfaction of making me look like the bad guy in front of everyone. Plus, I didn't want to escalate things even further and turn an already horrible situation into an even bigger disaster. Agreed. I needed to be there for my wife, not in a brawl. At the end of the day, kicking him out was the right call. I chose to stand up for my wife in a way that protected her dignity and our marriage. My wife has been incredibly supportive, and we're focusing on moving forward together, no matter what my family thinks. Thank you all again for your comments, advice, kind words. Guess what? There's another freaking little update from OP. They've been a lifeline for us during this difficult time, and we got a bunch of responses from OP in the comments. We're going to read them right now.
Let's do it.
Or do you want, John, do you have anything to say for yourself?
No. I think I respect OP's level-headedness and maybe I'll say approach at like every checkpoint. You know, it's like they had the thing at the wedding. He put a stop to it. You know, tried to stop the situation for his wife's sake. You know, stood up to the parents, stood up to the brother. Didn't acquiesce. I think his wife has been pretty well protected and insulated.
I think
as much as he could
basically doing everything textbook right.
Exactly. And you know what? Like, he maybe could have made slightly less of a scene, but this is just this is tiny, you know.
Those are like, you know, that's like 1 point off.
Exactly.
From he's got 99%.
He's got a 99%. Yeah. So
that's extra credit, honestly.
That's extra credit. There we go. Yeah. OP's crushing it. So. Love that.
Sad Confidence 9563 says, your mother defending your brother's boorish behavior just showed off what a crap bag she raised him to be. You may want to point out that he embarrassed both of your parents with his display too. He showed your family and the world they taught him that attacking a woman on her wedding day was not only acceptable to them, but defensible. So they're crap parents. Congrats. OP responds, I see what you're saying. And it's hard to ignore that my parents have enabled my brother's behavior for so long. It's not just about the prank. It's about the pattern of pranks. The fact that they're defending his actions on such an important day speaks volumes. My goal isn't to bash them, but I do hope this serves as a wake-up call for them. At the end of the day, my wife comes first, and I won't let anyone, family included, treat her like that. They need to see that actions have consequences, no matter how funny someone thinks they are. And Sad Confidence responds, it wasn't a prank. A prank involves a joke. Like if he hit a rubber ducks all over the venue. That's funny. That would be a prank. What he did was spend, from the sounds of it, hours on finding pictures, editing them into a slideshow, and writing a horrible speech. All this was to humiliate you both on the happiest day of your lives in front of everyone you love and care about. Hope he does have another response. But Eat Sir Turd says, absolutely. That's
Eats your turds.
Oh, eats your turds.
Sir.
Absolutely. That's premeditated cruelty, not a prank. He clearly planned to hurt you both.
Yeah.
Foxy Sly Old Stody Fox says, enter your parents' home, urinate on the floor, then say, that's just how I am. I know it's dreadful behavior, but you're my parents and should enable me to behave as badly as I like. Leave. Repeat every time you visit. This can be substituted for any other extreme but attention-grabbing act you wish.
A double-decker.
Responds.
Do a double-decker.
Oh, God. Ovi responds, well, if that's the standard we're going by, maybe I'll just bring my bullhorn next time and announce, I'm not disrespectful. It's just my quirky sense of humor. I'm sure they'll love an excuse, right? Let's see how many family gatherings I get to be invited after that.
Actually, bad advice, but just so fun to read.
So fun to read.
Just so fun to read.
And that's where that story ends.
All right.
It was a fun story to read.
My mother cheated years ago. Now my father refuses to attend my wedding if she's present.
It's either me or your cheating mother.
Quick side note, I know my fiance and I are very young, but we have been together for years and were friends since childhood before we became a couple.
And OP is 22 female.
Good to know. Also, I hate to say it, but we are religious, and it's common in our culture to marry young. We've been through both premarital and financial counseling, so we feel very prepared.
Oh, financial
That's
counseling?
nice. Wow, smart. By the way, this comes from Woozle Fangirl, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, my issue at hand has to do with the wedding. My fiance Steve and I are getting married in 8 months. We don't have a lot of money, and honestly, neither of us can stand fancy dues, so we are having a private ceremony with only his best man and my maid of honor as witnesses, and then we are having a tiny reception afterwards with only 50 people total. So obviously, this is going to be quite an intimate reception. Here is the thing. My parents can't stand each other, or at least my dad can't stand my mom. 5 years ago, in my last year of high school, my mother was caught having an affair with her married coworker.
Oh, double whammy.
Ouch. It destroyed my parents' marriage. My father became a changed man. He was always happy and confident, outgoing guy, but he became quiet, withdrawn, and just empty. It unalived me seeing him like this.
Dude, you're gonna let your cheating wife take that away from you?
Nah, don't let her take away your joy.
Don't let her win.
Don't let her cheat or win.
Go into spy mode.
Yeah.
Still be yourself.
My mother moved out because me and my younger brother, who was 15 at the time, basically told her to get the F out. I have always been close with my mom, loved her to pieces, but finding out about her affair and seeing what it did to my dad, I've always known my dad to adore my mother, nuked my relationship with her. My brother and I went no contact with her for about a year. I finally relented when I sent her an invitation to my high school graduation and made it clear her partner was not involved. My brother took a little longer to come around, but he talks to her from time to time. Both of us told the judge we wanted to live with our dad full time, which was granted to us.
Oh.
My relationship with my mother is still strained and distant. I know she wants more. She's constantly trying to talk to me, and she sobbed in relief when I sent her my graduation invite after not talking to her for almost a year. But I keep her at arm's length and merely make polite casual conversation now and again. I still love my mother, and I don't want to cut her out completely, but this is as close as I want her, and I will never again have a close relationship with her. As for her affair partner, apparently they are still together after his wife caught and divorced him.
I mean,
Yikes.
if you
if you're going to destroy two families, you got to make it worth it.
you have to make it worth it. If you're going full sins,
Yeah.
that's my rule. If you cheat, you have to stay with
You
the
got to
person.
make
You
it
have
worth
to.
it. I have never met him and made it clear to my mother I do not want to. If Mom and I meet for coffee or anywhere, he is not to come. I refuse to see pictures or discuss him with her. If she brings him up, I immediately change the subject. I have no idea if my mom is happy with him, if they're doing well, etc. I frankly don't care.
Ooh.
As for my father, in a way, we are closer, but he clearly has issues. It's been 5 years, and he's clearly not over the cheating and divorce. He's not angry or bitter about it, just very sad and depressed. He won't call my mom or her lover by their names. He calls them he, him, or she, her. He hasn't dated once since the divorce either. He won't be around her. For my graduation, they had to be at polar opposite ends of the bleachers, and I had to have my phone on me so I could text my mom when she was allowed to approach and congratulate me, and then so I could text my dad to let him know my mom left.
Oh, man.
That's so frustrating as the kid to be caught between this.
Be the middleman.
Yeah, like totally understandable that the dad is affected by this, but to the extent that now he is making his daughter be the
Why?
go between. Come on. It will be this way when I graduate college as well. So my question goes to my wedding. After I told my dad what Steve and I had planned for our wedding and reception, he got very quiet and asked if I plan on inviting her and him. I said yes, I would probably invite my mom, even though her partner is not invited. My dad quietly said it's rude to only invite one half of the couple. He then said he didn't think he could come if she was going to be there. Come on, dude. Come on. Like, she sucks. She's the a-hole here, but you're not going to go to your daughter's wedding because a woman who you divorced 5 years ago is going to be there. You don't have to talk to her.
Come on, dude.
Come on.
She's just going to be over there in the corner feeling bad about the family she messed up. You just go there, live your best of life.
Yeah, it's
Get a
one
hot
day.
date.
Get a hot date. It's one day.
Get a hot date. Dude.
That maybe he could be there before or after she comes, but he just doesn't think he could interact with her in such a close setting. You don't have to. Just
mean,
don't talk to her.
Wow, you're like letting her win.
This guy. I was floored and very hurt. I told my dad I would think about it. Steve and I need to start sending out save the dates pretty soon, so we need to get this resolved. I've talked about this with Steve, and while he is very sweet and says he will fully support me no matter what decision I make, that I'm the only one who can make the decision. I also talked to my brother about it, and he says he will show up no matter what, but he won't have much to do with our mother if she's invited, beyond basic courtesies, and that he understands Dad's position, but thinks he's being kind of ridiculous. He's also said it's technically rude to not invite her boyfriend, but it's also pretty rude to destroy two families by having an affair with another married man so her boyfriend can go F himself. And mother can shove wedding etiquette up her butt. Personally, he'd prefer I not invite her either, but it's my wedding and I can do what I want and he will roll with it. My brother is a very blunt man and has not been as forgiving of the affair as I have. So now I'm stuck. On the one hand, if we are being honest, I really do want to invite my mother to my wedding reception. I absolutely will not invite her boyfriend, regardless of how tacky it seems. He is not and will never be a part of our family. And honestly, I'm kind of angry with my dad. Believe me, I understand his pain and hurt, but it's been 5 years and I think he needs to start moving on. It's fine if he doesn't like mom. I don't much like her either. But to boycott my own wedding because she might be coming? Get over yourself. It's like his hurt feelings are more important than his only daughter's wedding. They are. To him, they are, which is ridiculous. He really can't suck it up and just be in a reception hall with her for a few hours. On the other hand, I really love my dad. I hate seeing him hurt. I can't stand causing him pain. If I absolutely have to choose between my two parents, I will pick my father every time. Despite him being kind of a wet blanket about the wedding, he's a good man with a good heart. My dad and I are very close, and I don't want to jeopardize my relationship with him, and I would much rather he be at my wedding than my mother. Plus, I'm thinking since I refuse to invite my mom's boyfriend, and it really is considered a wedding faux pas, I just shouldn't invite her altogether. I really don't want my dad to not come.
That's a good point.
But you want her there.
You want her there?
You want her there, and your dad's being a little baby.
I don't know about the little baby part.
I think he's being a little baby.
He's hurt.
Yes, he's allowed to be hurt, but it's been 5 years, and if he's putting his daughter's wedding below his feelings, then that's
what I was gonna say.
What were you to say?
Is he's hurt. I don't think he's given the time or space for him to allow himself to process this or to move on. And I think, like, you know, I grew up in religion. I think that her family did too. We put a lot of emphasis on our partner, and we put a lot of ourselves are in our partner. And I remember after my last relationship, I put a lot of myself into my partner, and I lost myself. And I had to realize I have to build myself from the bottom up and be whole again. So I'm myself going into the next relationship, not I am my partner going to my next relationship. I think he lost himself in her and does not know how to rebuild himself or has the tools to do that. Because he lost all his confidence. He lost who he was.
I agree. I just think that can be true and he can be on his own journey, but I think it's still...
This is like at
not
least
good.
1 day, 2 days.
It's 1 day. I just
2
think at the end of the
days.
day, he is allowed to not want to date people. That's fine. He is allowed to need to go to therapy. He's allowed to never want to talk to her.
Yeah, he doesn't have
He's
to do
allowed
anything. He doesn't
hate
interact with her. I
forever,
agree.
but to not go to your daughter's wedding
And
because of this
you
woman.
shouldn't punish her
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But despite how my mom and I are not and will never be close again, and how I think she's getting her just desserts for having an affair, I don't want to hurt her by not inviting her altogether. I'm well and truly stuck. I don't know what to do, and honestly, I've broken down crying over this a few times because it's just so stressful and I feel caught in the middle between two people I love. And there are some comments and an update, but I feel like you've already said what you think. Do you have any other thoughts before we jump into these comments and see
I want
what
to
the
hear
people
what the
think?
comments say.
Comment 1, options as I see them. Invite them both. Sit down with your dad and say, look, I love you and I want you to be there. You're going to regret missing it. You won't have to talk to her. If she tries to talk to you, I'll have her thrown out. It's important to me that she be there even though we're not close anymore, and it's important to me that you be there. And while the choice is obviously yours, I'm going to be really hurt if you don't come. With this option, tell your mother that she is not to engage with your siblings or your father, that she's not to attempt to mend any broken fences at the event. So that's option 1, which I think that's a really great way of putting it.
Heart to heart with dad.
Yeah, heart to heart, saying she cannot talk to you. If she does, I'll throw her out.
I like that.
But I would like to have you here. I think that's a good option.
I like that.
Option 2, invite one to the wedding and one to the reception, or one to the rehearsal and one to the actual day. Probably your mother should get the reception or rehearsal in that case. Option 3, invite neither of them. Nuclear option. If you can't behave like adults, just don't come. Not recommended. Which, I mean, like,
That's
the
nuclear
mother
option.
hasn't really... It's not even really the mom.
It's
who's
the
not
dad putting
behaving.
the power
Yeah.
play on, someone
Yeah.
said. I forget who it was.
It's healthy to avoid certain people being in your life. To some extent, I can see where your dad is coming from. I've regularly recommended that someone just not go somewhere that, say, an ex-abuser is going to be in attendance. But if he were here, I would almost certainly tell him to suck it up. I will say that if they end up in the same room, it should absolutely not fall on your shoulders to be texting your dad and telling him when it's okay to approach. Someone else needs to do that for you. If that has to happen, you're going to be under enough stress. And Opie says, this is really good advice. I've considered inviting my dad to the wedding itself and my mom to the reception, but neither Steve nor I really want to do this. It's very non-traditional on both our parts to have a super private ceremony, but we have it this way for a reason. We don't want a large audience. It was too hard to pick which people to have there and which to only have at the reception. So we said, screw it, just our closest friends as witnesses. I really do need to sit my dad down and talk to him about this again. I really like your option number 1. It's very good. Thank you for the whole post. And comment 2, was your mom a good mother to you and your brother? If so, invite her. Your parents' relationship and how it failed is really none of your or your brother's business. Cheaters always get all of the blame for relationships failing, and I'm not making excuses for her behavior. She should have just ended things. They had to have had other issues going on. People don't usually just cheat with no reason unless they're just a-holes. And chances are, if she's such an a-hole, she probably wasn't a good mother either. Anyway, if your dad can't be around her so much that he'd missed your wedding, then that's his choice. I'd ask her not to bring a date, and same to him. But tell him that she's your mother and you want her there, if you do. What he chooses to do is on him, not you. Shame on him for putting you in that position. And Opie says she was actually a pretty great mom until the affair, but it could be she's an a-hole and a good mother. I mean, I think she's an a-hole regardless, but she's, you know.
She'd still be a good mom.
She can still be a good mom.
Mother. Not a good mom, but a good mother.
I went to my own personal therapy during and after the divorce, and reflecting back on it, my dad was always very good to my mom, showed her lots of affection, gave praise, helped her when she was sick, would spontaneously buy her flowers and other presents, etc. But my mom never really reciprocated. It's always been obvious to me my dad adored my mom, but thinking back, I wasn't ever sure she loved him because she certainly never showed it.
Oh.
Dang.
Dude, I've seen relationships like that.
Dang, man.
Those are hard to look at.
That's
Whenever
sad.
the guy's like pouring his heart out and the woman's just kind of like.
My therapist also pointed out that people can be good parents, but also terrible parents and or people outside of that role. And that honestly helped me come to terms with getting over the affair between reconciling the mother I knew, who I loved and was close with, and this selfish person who did a terrible thing to our family. I really think she's one of those people my therapist described as good parent, bad partner, and or person, and that the two aren't mutually exclusive or inclusive. Thank you for your advice. It's definitely something I'll incorporate when I talk to him about this again. And there is an update. Apparently a very long update. But I honestly, I think option number 1 is the best way to go.
Option
of
number
talking
1.
to him and being like, dude, I want you to be there.
Option number 1, but how far the dad has fallen from being the great person he is, I believe he's going to double down and
be
not
like,
even
no,
go.
I can't go.
He's not going to go. He's going to punish his daughter rather than adulting, being near his ex for a day.
And honestly, I feel like you like don't not invite your mom because you want her there.
Yeah.
Your dad is going to make a decision. I think that at the end of the day, you should make the decision that you want to make, which is invite both of your parents. And then they can make whatever decisions.
The decision.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it puts nothing on you.
And clearly lay out how it will make you feel either way.
Exactly.
And
Like,
they
don't be
should-
like, oh, okay, fine, if you don't want to come. Be like, no, this is going to hurt me if you do not come. Update.
All right.
This is a very long update. Also, this post is probably going to get flamed, judging how the comments went down as more time went on, the longer my post was up. This is probably going to anger many people, but there were also lots of nice and helpful people too. So I was reading all the comments, and the more time went on, the more angry and upset I became.
Don't let them get to you. They're just trying to get a
It's just-
rise out of
yeah.
you. Just pick the good ones and laugh at the bad ones.
People eventually started saying, why should parents always have to sacrifice for children? Some said I was being a bridezilla and only caring about my day. Of course I care. It's my wedding. Those comments are stupid. It's supposed to be a once-in-a-lifetime event that I want to share with everyone. Many people said my dad had depression and my mother's actions were so evil he was forever off the hook for good. Everyone was giving suggestions on how I could meticulously plan the days to rotate everyone, and I felt like screaming. Steve eventually told me to get off Reddit because he hated seeing me so upset. I couldn't even say exactly why I was upset. I just was. Steve said maybe I should go back to my old therapist that I had when my parents got divorced and talk it out with her. To me, this seemed like a great idea. I called her up and asked to have an appointment, despite finals being right around the corner. So I went, and everything came out. How much I hurt still from what Mom did, and how we can never be close again. And honestly, how angry I am at my father. I never really realized it, but I've gotten so furious and resentful of him, how he never even tried to get out of his funk, how dejected he acted if Mom somehow came up, how he never said anything directly bad about her but suddenly made me feel guilty for loving her, acting mopey, going from fine to depressed if she somehow came up, how I always feel like I have to walk on eggshells around him, and how he gets a free pass because he got cheated on. Something that happens to tons of people every day.
Mm-hmm.
I talked and talked and talked. I made a couple more appointments. I go through finals. I want to shout out to Steve here. He is the only reason I got through it all and passed and got my degree. He is an incredible human being. The tipping point was on my graduation day. Once again, my father made it clear Mom couldn't be sat near him, and he couldn't be near her at all. I had to text her when she could come talk to me, and had to text him once she left. Her boyfriend was, of course, not invited, but it was so embarrassing having to contact the officials in charge of the ceremony and ask if my tickets could be changed so my parents could sit far away from each other. That is so frustrating.
Mm.
They were kind and understanding, but that's when I began to get very, very angry. My mom has no problem with my dad. She doesn't mind being near him, even though she doesn't love him. I began to think how I'm going to have to rearrange all of my milestones. My marriage, when I have children, my children's christenings and birthday parties, etc. Graduation was miserable. I couldn't look in any one direction to see my family as I got my degree and walked the stage because they had to be spread out. I had to make sure my phone was on me and fully charged so I could coordinate my mother and father's locations. It was so awkward mingling with one group and then my mother, knowing both groups were waiting to have their turn. My brother interacted with my mother and he was kind of cold, but cordial nonetheless. My mother made no complaints, didn't try to argue or force herself in there, and patiently waited for her turn, even though I could tell she was dying to spend more time with me. Pictures had to be rotated. I couldn't have one with all of my family in there. My father was constantly texting during my time with her, asking if she had left yet and if he could come back now. I don't like this man.
I don't know if he knows how to adult.
It seemed so childish. It is. He's being a child. He's being a petulant child who was hurt. She did an awful thing and was an a-hole to him. That is, that's obvious. But why is he taking it on an OP? Honestly, the rest of my family could tolerate my mother being around. After all, the divorce was years ago. It's time to start getting over it and moving on with life. It was only because of my dad that I couldn't relax and just be happy and enjoy my graduation with my family. I was supposed to go to dinner with my dad, boyfriend, and other family after graduation to celebrate. I told them I felt very sick and needed to go home. I just didn't want to be around anyone anymore. Steve just held me while I bawled my eyes out. You know what? Really quick. Steve, great constant throughout the story.
Oh,
Steve's killing it, man.
That is a solid rock right there.
That's a rock of a man. I hadn't cried that hard in years. I met with my therapist a couple more times. This is turning into a novel, so I'll summarize what I came to realize in therapy.
Okay.
While the initial anger and hate I felt for my mom was real, I never stopped loving her. But I felt like because my dad had been wronged, I had to take his side. My dad had always made me feel guilty for loving my mother. While his actions had never been overt, it had been very subtle manipulation.
Yep.
I mean, not even that subtle. He's just like, your mother.
Are you done yet? I want to
talk to you.
I feel like he feels she deserves nothing.
Yeah.
Especially OP's time. He wants to keep it.
Yeah,
all
he
for
doesn't
himself.
want her. He feels like his marriage was stolen from him by her, and so
And he put
he doesn't want her to steal you.
And he put his everything into it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And so he's trying to like win you.
Yeah.
Felt like I had to give my dad carte blanche, whatever he wanted, because if I didn't, I felt like I would lose him too. That he would reject and have nothing to do with me if I didn't practically ostracize my mother. My mother was at one point my best friend, and that's gone. Oh, that's so sad. I couldn't stand losing both my parents, so dad has gotten whatever he wanted, and I'm realizing that in a subtle way, dad has been manipulating my brother and I to treat our mother terribly for years to punish her. My dad has always been a super passive-aggressive guy. It's nothing new. He's always guilt-tripped people and made these little comments that twist people up and hurt them. It's his form of control. I love both of my parents. My mother did a terrible, horrible thing, but my dad is no saint either.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was just more upfront about her awfulness.
Yeah, dad still needs to own up on his feelings. Just, I don't know, acknowledge his feelings. I feel like he's bottling
He
them
needs
up.
to go to therapy. He's
Yeah.
he's been bottling them up for
Bottle 'em
5
up.
years.
You have so much more life to live, my dude.
Yeah.
It seems like you're a great person, and I'm pretty sure there'd be a lucky lady to be with you.
Yeah, if you can work through your problems. My therapist and Steve also pointed out that if my dad is truly depressed or emotionally damaged, he has never sought to get help for it. Instead, he has projected his problems and pain onto everyone else and made it their burden instead of taking responsibility for himself and attempting to go on with life. And that is not okay. No, it is not. I called my mom and asked her over for tea. Steve left to give us privacy. I could list everything we said and talked about, but it would make the post longer. Basically, my mom never loved my dad and should never have agreed to marry him. My dad knew mom didn't love him, but didn't care and insisted she would love him eventually. Some very eye-opening things were said that made sense. My mother never trash-talked my dad, never has, but she gave insights as to why the affair happened. She says she understands it's no excuse for what she did, and she is so very sorry for her own selfishness and weakness. Basically, both my parents are human, and mistakes were made from both sides. My mom had the affair, yes, but it's not like my dad was the perfect man either. While I will never again be close to my mom, perhaps I don't need to be quite as harsh with her as I have been.
I don't think Opie's been that harsh.
I think probably it's just OP has really not been seeing her that much because the dad is making it
because
so
he wants to
difficult.
be in dad's favors.
yeah.
Got it.
We will still be low contact, but I did decide I do want her there for the wedding and for the birth of any children I have. I love my mom, always have and always will. She may not have been a good wife, but she was an excellent mother, and I don't want to cut her out completely. I think my kids' lives will be more enriched having her in it.
I do kind of have a similar thing happening with my family. So there's this whatever, she's not gonna watch it. There's this one grandma that has been kind of hard on my mom growing up, and she did some kind of messed up stuff to my mom and all that, and my mom has kind of talked badly about her because she has been upset with her. So I have also kind of viewed my grandma through this lens. But my mom recently, at the end of the trip and Christmas, she was like, hey, I just want to kind of apologize for the way I've been speaking about this person, because she is your grandma, and I do have a lot of pent up baggage with her, but I should not let that affect the way you see your grandmother.
That's lovely.
And I was like, wow, that is a really good point, because my grandma's not going to be around a lot.
Yeah.
I love her, and I want to be in her life and in that kind of stuff. I think the dad needs to own up on that.
Yeah.
And do the same thing.
I agree. I think that it's really hard to kind of separate your relationship with someone with a family member or a child.
Yeah.
But I think it is important, especially when it's your parents.
Absolutely.
Especially, you have to make sure that you are not putting the baggage of your ex-partner onto your children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or whatever that relationship, is. My mother started crying when I told her she was invited to the wedding, even though I made it clear to her her boyfriend is not invited. She didn't argue with me on that at all, and said she thought I had asked her to my house to tell her I would not be inviting her, and she had been prepared to accept that rejection and understand it. Oh. I did tell her that if Dad was there, she was to stay away from him and not try to mend any fences at my wedding. She says she understands completely and will mingle with my grandparents, her parents, and my aunts, uncles, and cousins, her siblings, and their children. I made it clear to my mother that if she even attempted to talk to Dad or any of his family, she would be thrown out. She agreed without question.
She seems to be in full alignment here.
Yeah, well, she seems a lot more reasonable.
She knows
And
her
that she
role in
wants to
this.
be there for OP. She recognizes that she made a horrible, terrible mistake and that she's trying to be there for her daughter, which is what the dad should be doing.
And she seems happy with her relationship that she's in now.
Yeah.
I'm just disappointed in the mom that she had to,
Yeah.
that she didn't go through divorce
Yeah.
and decided to.
Like she's clearly
cheat.
the a-hole in that move. Yeah.
But I guess it's kind of cool how we already know that situation, but it's like the second layer of it
Yes.
is what we're like discussing. Yeah.
Exactly. Steve and I had a final sit down before I called my dad. I asked him to please give me his honest opinion. Steve relented and said, well, he thought what my mother had done was inexcusable. She actually seemed remorseful and willing to accept the consequences of her actions and to move on, and that my dad, while a nice guy, came off as way too sensitive and just weak. Whoo, dang, man. He said that my dad didn't cheat, but he had caused me a lot of pain and anxiety since the divorce. And it made him very angry, and it was getting hard to like or tolerate my dad, and that his family felt the same way. That my dad was actually a master bully in disguise as a super nice guy.
Nice.
Whoa.
Some nice guys are manipulative. You know what?
Damn,
Hot take.
Steve just read your dad, OP.
Hot freaking take. I do think that this guy needs to man up
I agree.
and
I think
get his manhood back.
I think he's being a coward. I think his clearly OP's mom has like gone through a lot of self, work and improvement, and he's just stuck.
Have you seen
And he's
Crazy Stupid
Pulling
Love?
everyone down. I have.
My favorite
Don't like
movie.
that movie.
Right?
Not my
What?
favorite movie. It's not my favorite movie. It's one of my favorite
why do you
rom
not
Oh,
like
coms.
it?
sorry. Wait.
Wait, why do you not like it?
I was thinking of Love Actually, which I hate that movie. Crazy Stupid Love is with Ryan Gosling, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do love
And Steve
Crazy
and
Carell.
Stupid Love.
Steve
Yeah.
So,
Carell. Oh,
you remember when
Crazy
Steve
Stupid Love's
Carell
great.
is like, my wife cheated on me
Yeah.
with da 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 da, and he's just in the bar like, oh,
Yeah.
oh,
And then
oh.
Ryan
Everyone's
Gosling's like,
like,
I'm gonna find your manhood back.
Yeah, he's like, dude, you let your wife take away your manhood, and you let this man do that. Wake up! And
Yeah, it's
this
great
guy
movie.
needs a Ryan Gosling in his life.
Be better than the Gap.
Yeah.
Be better
It
than
is a
the
great
Gap.
movie. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you
But
were
I'm
talking
just
about
thinking
Love
about
Actually.
no, but I'm just
Don't
thinking
like that
about if
movie.
Steve Carell didn't meet Ryan Gosling in that movie, this is
He'd
who
be
this
this
guy
guy.
is. Yeah.
I called my dad and asked to come over and that I needed to talk about something. I sat him down in his living room, so this talk was in his space where he could retreat if he needed to, and said basically, Dad, I love you so much. You mean the world to me, but after the fiasco of my graduation, I've come to realize I've had enough of feeling like I have to pick sides with you and Mom. I'm sorry about what happened, Dad. I really am. But that was 5 years ago. You lost a wife, but I didn't lose a mom. I'm sure you don't mean to, but you've been making me feel like I can't be close with you if I want to have any kind of relationship with Mom. If it's still impossible to even be in the room with her, Dad, then maybe you need to talk to someone so you can start feeling better and not be in so much pain. Is there some kind of abuse that happened that you're not telling me about that makes this impossible? My dad seemed shocked and then started to get really upset and basically said Mom had never hit him or anything, but that she cheated and broke his heart, and that was reason enough to cut her out. Dad also said I couldn't understand because I hadn't been cheated on and I didn't know what real love was. She's about to get married, dude.
There's a comment here from GGA.
GGA says, y'all better stop with all this fanfic. Opie's mom still cheated with the married man. She's not a victim in this. We're not saying that she's a victim.
We're just going to the
We're
second
just saying
layer.
that, yeah, there is the first layer, which is she's an a-hole for cheating on him.
Mhm.
And then there's the second layer, which is OP is not a part of that relationship at all.
She's just trying to coexist.
She's just trying
and
to love her
co-live.
mother and her father, who are still her mother and their father, regardless of what's going on between them.
And one party is okay with coexisting, but the
Yeah.
other party is making it
Is
very
making it
difficult.
possible for OP. OP
OP.
is the person here that is getting hurt, and that's
Yep.
the only person that
And
matters.
OP is not even like super close with her mom anymore. She's going
Yeah, she just
low
wants her at the
contact and is
wedding.
doing the bare minimum to keep her mom
Yeah.
in her life.
I didn't know what real love was, and also implied it was my fault and my brother's fault because if we weren't a part of the relationship, he could move on. But we always remind him of her and what they had, and how because of us, he can't make a clean break since she's in our lives, etc. I'm sure many Redditors will disagree, but this is my dad being typically passive. insinuating that because my brother and I exist, he can't get better because we are reminders of mother, and it's our fault we exist, so he can't cut her out totally. I realized that my dad thinks that if he can get me and my brother to cut my mom out, not only will he succeed in punishing her, but he can have us all to himself and not have to share her with her and deal with his hurt. He's getting us to do the dirty work for him, so he doesn't have to take responsibility.
All right, bro. You got to man up. You got to stop weaponizing your kids to get back at your ex. You need to weaponize yourself by investing in yourself and showing how you've moved on, found a better partner, found a better self of yourself, and just live your life. Your wife did a scummy thing, and she's living that life, and that's her consequence. But you need to freaking run up and do it yourself, and just look up and stop weaponizing your kids.
Literally.
Gosh,
Therapy.
you know what? You know what's gonna be painful is whenever your kids go to her mom and they're like, "Oh, how's dad?" And he's like, "Oh my gosh, dad just built a 3rd house for his new wife."
You suck.
Weaponize them in that way of how great your life is.
Yeah.
That's why I used to have mutual friends with my ex, so they would tell them how well I was doing. And I know she knows I live in LA and I'm living my best life. She knows that. Because I that's how I planned. It's like,
I told my dad that I loved him and wanted him at the wedding, but mother is invited. Her boyfriend isn't, but she is. I told dad that I had talked to her and I promised him she would leave him alone and stay away from him and his family. And could he not just put aside differences for a few hours to celebrate with me and Steve on our date? He said absolutely not, and that I was being unfair and insensitive, and that my mom had poisoned me against him, that he wasn't the cheat, and she needed to deal with what she had done and not come, and by inviting her, I was clearly supporting her cheating, and that we couldn't be close if that was the case because I was being too much like her.
I say we go low contact.
Yeah,
with
and
dad
at that
here.
point, I'd be like, okay, Dad, I can't have a relationship with you if you're going to be like this.
Because I don't want my kids to be around this and my kids to think of their grandma like this.
And
the dad's just pushing everyone away.
the fact that he is blaming OP's mom's cheating on OP, still ridiculous.
Very ridiculous.
He's gonna lose everyone. He lost his wife. He's gonna lose his daughter.
I had enough. I stood up and said, Dad, Steve and I really want you there. You're free to come or not. I love you, but if you don't come, it will absolutely affect our relationship going forward. I'm not doing any more separate celebrations or events. People can either come or stay home for weddings, parties, births, and whatever. It's getting ridiculous, and I'm sick of being in the middle. The rest is up to you and Mom. Nice.
Nice. There we go.
Then I left.
All right.
I haven't heard from my dad since. That's been hard, but I feel like I did the right thing. You did. I also called my brother and told him everything that happened. My brother was very quiet. And then he said, while he still hates our mom for what she did and thinks she's an ore.
Oh, wow.
Damn. That maybe there is more to this than he realized, and that he thinks our dad is being a selfish jerk and needs to get over himself. He said it's fine, Mom is coming to the wedding, and that he would be nice to her. So that's that. I'm sure many will disagree and be angry with me, but Steve and I feel we made the right call. You did.
Yep.
In my opinion, you did.
You did.
Steve loves and supports me, and that's all that matters. I talked to my therapist about it, and she said it's possible I was harsh, but that maybe my dad needed to hear that since he has been coddled and enabled for 5 years. I am fully prepared for my dad to not show up. If he doesn't, it's his loss. Thanks again to everyone who gave me input. Some of your comments were very eye-opening. I may post an update in the future after the wedding, but I haven't decided yet. And edit, I wanted to point out some things that keep coming up.
I have one thought.
Yeah, you can say it.
It does suck. I mean, we keep going in circles about like the mom and dad. I feel like we have a good stance on the mom. We have a good stance on how about we feel about the dad. The brother seems like he's kind of coming around. He's like, oh, I didn't realize.
He's like, I don't like Mom, but also Dad's being a jerk.
Yeah, he didn't realize how bad it was. And also Steve again, guys.
Steve, at the end of the day, Steve is a constant. Steve is killing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
We love Steve.
Edit. I wanted to point out some things that keep coming up. Remember, I come from a religion and culture that is very different from most people here. Divorce is shameful for us. It is humiliating. The only justifiable reason for divorce is an affair for our people. Divorce because you're not happy is not an excusable reason. An affair is the only way out, which again does not justify the mom, but does kind of give a little
because
more.
they're religious.
Yeah, it does give a little bit more context.
Because the only way you can divorce
is an affair.
is if someone's being unfaithful. And I think there was another reason. But I think that was the only one I can remember off the top of my head.
However, that being said, the person who commits the affair has just crippled themselves. Spicy sleep is very holy and pure in our religion and culture. It is to be between husband and wife only. That's it. And if you break up a marriage because of it, you're forever blacklisted. While my mother should have gotten a divorce without having an affair, she still would have had a scarlet letter on her chest for getting divorced for no reason, which is an ultimate act of selfishness.
They are Mormon.
Yeah.
They are Mormon. She is 22, getting married right away.
Yeah. Marriage is very holy in our culture. To divorce for any reason other than an affair is to be like an unbelieving sinner, which is quite simply not acceptable.
Oh my gosh.
I don't necessarily agree with this, as I'm a little more liberal than the rest of my family and most people, but it is what it is. My mother did not get off scot-free. She is no longer welcome in her church, and none of her friends associate with her anymore. Her family, her friends, her church, her entire community has shunned her. She also lost her job because dipping your pen in company ink is expressly frowned upon at her former workplace. Because remember, she had an affair with her coworker.
Dipping your ink.
That's funny. Both she and her lover lost their jobs and had to find new ones.
So wait, with our company, what if someone is having relationships with a coworker?
In our company?
Mm-hmm. Is that okay?
You're fired. You're fired, Riley.
Should have fired me 6 months ago then.
Many are saying I need to start including my mom's partner in things, and saying the fact she has been with him this whole time shows they have something special. It actually does not. I didn't put this in my post, but my mom and I actually talked about her boyfriend for the first time. They are on the verge of breaking up, and the relationship has been rocky for a while. P's family and friends have disowned him too. He is not of our religion or culture, double bogus for my mom for taking a lover outside the faith, but no one wants anything to do with P. His ex-wife has made their lives heck and will not let them see his kids. When he does see them, they treat my mother terribly and make their hatred known. P is also sick of being not invited to every family event on our side and said Mom needs to start demanding he be invited to things. Mom is of the viewpoint that they've brought misery on themselves and need to accept the consequences of their actions, and furthermore knows that if she insisted on bringing P, she would burn the last of the bridges she has with us and will not do that. P is sick of her not putting him first, and the relationship is falling apart because of it.
Ooh.
Dang, man. The only reason they have lasted this long is because Mom and P only have each other because no one else wants them.
Dang, trauma bond 2 on top of it.
Ouch, ouch,
Yikes.
ouch. And they both know it. My mom actually does love her boyfriend, but he doesn't love her anymore, and she knows they aren't gonna make it. By the way, you guys should always make it to another full episode with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little teeny bit left to the story.
So mom's not really winning in this scenario.
No, the mom has been losing a lot. And that, yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I hate it for her. I mean, everyone
story
deserves
has-
love.
That
the story's not
karma?
black and white. But the story's not black and white.
It's not. There's
not.
a
It's
lot
like
of
she
gray
should not have
layers.
cheated, but also she came from a really religious family and didn't feel like she could divorce. Again,
didn't feel
doesn't
like-
excuse it.
Yeah, she just didn't feel like she had another option out.
Yeah. And the husband OP's father was cheated on, which is terrible. And now he's acting like a child.
Yep.
So it's just very not a black and white
Let's just
story.
look at it
Yeah.
here. Mom, as a parent, great parent.
Yeah.
But as a lover and as a partner, not so great. But there's, again, not so black and white.
Also,
Father,
sorry.
yeah.
Agreed. Also, Hattie Vincent said she is Mormon, and she says she doesn't think it's from the Mormon Church. Maybe I mean, I could
Someone
see
said
it in
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Jehovah's Witnesses. I mean, I could see it
Some
in my
people said that, yeah.
like Baptist or non-denominational. Non-denominational is sort of like a mixed bag, but like from a Baptist standpoint, I could see that. Or like I think my grandma's was someone with a P, Presbyterian standpoint. I could see that
Yeah.
if they're pretty like about it.
Yeah.
But overall, I don't know what sect of religion this is.
It's
It could
some
be
sort of-
left field. It could be like Islam or something like that.
Could be.
Who knows?
Could be Buddhist, yeah.
I don't think it would be Buddhist.
We don't know.
Many are saying, even explicitly hoping, Steve cheats on me, so I understand my dad's pain. People in comments are crazy. Because I clearly don't since I haven't been cheated on. Hey, that's what my dad said. Those people are crazy. This experience has actually taught me the opposite. If Steve were to cheat, I would be out of my mind with pain and hurt. I wouldn't be able to function. I don't blame my dad for being unable to be around my mother at first. If I had children with Steve, as much as it would suck, I would put on my big girl pants and do what needed to be done for my kids. I've gotten plenty of comments and PMs from people who were cheated on and heartbroken and devastated, and they did what needed to be done. Since I now know what it's like to have parents that pick their pain over their kids, I know I would never want to put my kids through that. It's just basic human decency. I am not on any parent's side. I don't love either of my parents more, nor do I think either should be demonized and bashed or out on a pedestal and coddled. My parents are human and imperfect. They are both great people, and they both have done some really crappy things. That's it, and that's all. Dang, what a little like slice of life from this person. Truly just like a just gray area of a story.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't say people that are black and white.
And I'm
They
just
aren't.
praying that this doesn't bleed into her own marriage with Steve.
Yeah.
And that this doesn't affect
I
or
doubt it
become
will.
a
I
role
doubt it
model.
will.
Yeah.
I know right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
yes, but years
Sure.
after seeing it,
It seems like they are already going to marriage counseling and financial
Yeah.
counseling. I think they are on a good footing.
And
Yeah.
Steve is a W.
And Steve, man.
Straight W.
Steve.
I do want to go to financial counseling. I'm going to add that
Yeah.
to my things.
That's cool.
Yeah, marriage counseling, pre-marriage counseling is a
I
absolute
think,
must.
yeah, I think talking about your finances is super important before you get married.
I think my thoughts are if you're in a relationship for 2 years, some form of counseling together is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like maintenance repair, not like there's a problem. It's just like, how can I put my best foot forward?
Yeah. Counseling's never a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's not- yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. It's like
True
it doesn't mean there's something bad that's going on. It's just
True.
it's good to have.
It's good to have.
But that is the end of that story.
Not the episode.
What?
We got one more.
My childhood friends couldn't make it to my wedding, but it feels like I'm the bad guy.
They're the bad guy.
They are.
Uninvite them.
There you go. My now husband, 31-year-old male, and I, 30-year-old female, have been together for 7 years. And when we got engaged over a year ago, we decided that we wanted to have a very small wedding during a vacation with just our best friends, parents, and siblings. Since we knew early on this was our plan, I ran it by my two best friends to make sure they were up for a trip somewhere and gave them a few ideas we had thrown around of where and when. These ideas included things like a trip to Hawaii, Mexico, Bahamas, etc. for a week or so, where we were originally hoping to get a huge Airbnb for the 13 of us that we could potentially have the small ceremony at, and then plan some other activities and sightseeing things to do as a group, and some girls and guy things, whatever people were up for. They both sounded down for it and even excited. By the way, this comes from Secretly Struggle on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, to give some background, these two girls have been my best friends since elementary school, and we have always been super close. One of them, let's call her Stacy, recently got married, and me and our other friend, let's call her Chelsea, were both bridesmaids in the wedding. We went to New York for her bachelorette trip, and the wedding itself was a few days stay out of town, so I kind of judged what I was asking of them for my wedding trip off of hers because she was first to get married in our immediate group.
Yeah, so they already did a trip for
Yeah.
one of the weddings.
So sounds like it's gonna work out, right?
Yeah, right?
Chelsea is single and loves to travel and often goes on trips with groups of friends, so she sounded super excited about going on a trip for my wedding to any of the places we mentioned, and Stacy also said she was up for it and basically said she'd figure out how to be by my side no matter what we planned. So as we started planning, we realized that it was going to be a lot to coordinate in another country to hold our own wedding somewhere. Airbnbs have a bunch of restrictions on wedding ceremonies. Hotel wedding packages were still super expensive for even small groups, with flights, lodging, food, activities. It started getting out of hand both financially and logistically with travel, until we thought of doing a cruise.
Interesting.
That sounds like it would be more difficult, but
Yeah, it personally sounds like it would be a little bit more complicated, but you
But-
know, whatever suits your fancy.
I don't know. We love cruises, and we found a cruise to Mexico that matched the timing we wanted and the price for the week. All inclusive, food, drinks, etc. was comparable, if not cheaper, than most of the other options, and this would include our wedding ceremony at a port, 4 different stops in Mexico, and 2 days at sea. There are tons of activities on cruises, and then with the stops, we could plan whatever we wanted to do as a group or separate if people wanted to do different things. It felt like the perfect combination to meet all our friends' needs. I honestly didn't see this as all that different from a week trip to Mexico in a hotel or Airbnb. This is about a year out from our planned wedding date, so I wanted to start locking some things in, and I ran the ideas by my friends again, explaining all the reasons why we are thinking this will be the best choice for us, and they both said it sounds cool and they wanted more info to look at it all. From this, I thought it was good with them, so my husband and I confirmed this plan with our other guests, my mom, sister-in-laws, sister-in-law, and husband's best man, wife, and son.
Okay.
Yeah.
It does, based off, it sounds cool and I want more info.
Yeah.
I would give the info first before confirming with everyone.
Doesn't sound like it's quite locked in
It's
just
like,
yet.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Love more info. That's
Right.
what I'm reading into
It
that.
sounds like just think about it. Like I need to
Yeah.
think about it, but good idea.
OP. We should have double checked. With that.
Looking back, I think I missed the signs from them somewhere in this conversation about how they felt, and maybe I didn't communicate super clearly that we were pretty set on this idea now, as it made the most financial sense and had the perfect balance of giving us a place to all be together on the trip, as well as having plenty of things to do and lots of places to go with so many stops along the trip. But when I checked back in with them about moving forward, making deposits, they basically told me that they thought it was too much to ask for various reasons and didn't know if they could make it work. Interesting. Stacy said that she probably couldn't take a week off of work, which is fair, but I was confused because I thought we were always planning about a week-long trip, so I never knew this would be an issue. Also, didn't they say it would be like 2 days? Oh, I guess I don't know how cruises work, but they said 2 days at sea,
Yeah.
and then a few stops in Mexico. So maybe the stops
Yeah.
are longer.
Have you been on a cruise?
I've never been on a cruise. Yeah,
But I mean, you're kind of locked in.
You are.
You can't. So maybe like the friends were thinking, oh, well, you know, you guys can go on this part of the trip and then I'll like head out early or something.
Yeah, like they have like a little more flexibility or something.
Yeah. Or they were like, oh, I can do work while I'm at the Airbnb.
Yeah.
I don't know how Wi-Fi is on the cruise.
True. I don't know how that works either.
I've never been on a cruise.
Yeah.
I've been on a ferry that was overnight and that's about it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, for a second I was thinking it was like a 2-day long cruise, but I guess it's a week. So.
I think it's a week.
My bad.
But I do know, I have friends who did like, they did like a Alaska cruise. So it's like multiple, you know, it's like a week or something or 2 weeks or something. And then you're doing stops in places and stuff.
That's probably probably what it was. She also said it was the cost, which again I understand is high, but any destination wedding will have a higher cost, and again it was already expected to be about this price, which was comparable to her own wedding ask. That is a good point.
Yeah,
if she's asking this much, then she shouldn't complain when you ask that much.
I agree.
So
I agree.
Crazy. Chelsea said that it was too long of a trip, too much time off, and she was worried that since she was single, it would be awkward, despite both my sister and my husband's sister being there, single as well, and the fact that she goes on other trips with other couples friends all the time.
Sounds like she just doesn't like cruises.
Yeah, maybe. She's just like
she's
coming
just
up.
anti-cruise.
She's like, I'm just going to be sick that day
Yeah,
a year in
really?
advance.
Ooh, a cruise? That sounds nice.
Trying to come up with all these excuses.
Yeah.
I did some research and tried to come up with a variety of solutions and came up with the idea to pay to fly them home early from the cruise out of one of the stops in Mexico if they could not get the time off work. And I also offered to pay for the Wi-Fi packages if they needed to work remotely at all on the trip. I offered to help with the trip costs in general for both of them, and short of offering to cover it 100%, I thought I had solved the issues they had and we could make it work. During one conversation, I admittedly got snappy about their concerns because I felt like I was being called selfish and they were saying how I was dismissing their concerns, but I felt like I was just trying to understand them and find solutions since this is something me and my husband were set on. Chelsea told me that everyone she talked to about it said it was way too much for us to ask of people for our wedding, and I reminded them, in not my best tone, both how much we paid for Stacy's wedding for Stacy's wedding trips and asked Chelsea how this was different from the trips she's taken with other friends just for fun, as well as other weddings and bachelorette trips. And she responded by saying that those are different because she has more say in planning, picking the places, activities, timing, etc. And basically said that it was mostly because she didn't think this trip would be that enjoyable aside from the wedding itself.
Yeah, it's
Ooh.
literally because she doesn't like cruises.
Yeah, I guess so.
They're anti-cruise.
I guess so. I do understand like not having the control.
Yeah.
Because that does change things.
Yeah,
too.
I think so.
Yeah.
But
Like,
I mean, it seems like OP could have communicated a little bit better,
yeah.
but also her friends are being a little bit unreasonable, maybe.
Yeah, I see both sides.
Yeah.
Honestly, because like if they were able to go off and do their own thing on a just regular week-long trip on land somewhere, then
Yeah.
like they could do that, and then that is where their choices
And
come in.
OP's like seemingly paying for a lot of the trip.
Right. So she's trying. OP is trying really hard. My feelings were hurt, but I apologized for how I was talking to them and basically said I would do whatever I could to have them there by my side. They just needed to tell me if there was anything I could do to make it work that I hadn't found a solution for, and they said they would also do their best to make it work. Okay, everyone's trying.
Everyone's gonna try.
When it came to deadline for a deposit, they agreed to move forward with putting down $150, and then they would have until about 4 months out to decide if they could make it work. And they both said that they would do everything that they could to make it work and be there. I genuinely thought it was going to work out because I figured if it came to it, I would just fully cover their costs for however long they could be there and make it work. My husband and I discussed this, and he was on board to pay their costs if necessary to have them there for me. I went back and forth about moving forward with this, but aside from this, it was the best option for me and my future husband, since it's what we really wanted for our special day and how we envisioned it, with as little stress and planning necessary, so we can enjoy this experience with the people we love the most. I kept my fingers crossed and continued planning things with the wedding coordinator for the cruise, and the rest of our guests planned their trips. Fast forward to the deadline to pay and confirm our trips or get the deposits back. Both Stacy and Chelsea let me know that they wouldn't be able to make it work despite my offers and solutions. Oh man. But why? What for?
Hold up.
Oh my goodness. They said they tried everything they could and tried to think of every solution, but it just wouldn't be possible.
What solutions for what though?
Yeah, like what did you try?
Yeah, I mean, like, was it work? Because you had months,
Right.
4 months,
Right.
to request time off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's up with that?
What is up with that? Huh? They said if it was anything other than a cruise, they would have been able to make it work. So yeah, they just
It's
don't
just
like
the cruise.
it's just the cruise. They
It's
just
the
don't like
cruise.
cruises. And gave the example of if we were staying in a hotel in another country, they would definitely be there, even if they had to fly in and out for just one day, which makes no sense to me because I had found a way to fly them home halfway through and pay any fees they incurred. That really hurt my feelings because it was like they were acknowledging that they could and would do exactly what I offered to do for them, just not for the cruise, which is what me and my husband really wanted to do for our wedding. Side note, I did ask early on if either of them were afraid of cruises or worried about seasickness or anything like that, and they both said that it wasn't it at all. I honestly wish it was.
Some people just really hate cruises.
I guess
I think
so.
my mom likes cruises.
Really?
Yeah. Again, I've never been on a cruise.
Yeah, me neither. I can understand like not like having a preference to land trips,
Yeah.
but also like I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't be that bad to
Yeah.
like not go for a wedding. I don't know. That's just me.
That's just me.
By the way, you never have to be afraid of joining us live on YouTube every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
Tap it.
Tap our profile.
Stop it.
But yeah, there's a little bit more, but any last words?
Oh, I don't know. This is weird because
Yeah.
it seems like if it literally wasn't a cruise, they would do it. So I think
Yeah.
they just really hate cruises.
But I just don't get it. I just
Yeah.
don't get why. And
like
I don't
OP's
think
like, I'll
OP
fly
does.
you away, like, or I'll fly you
Yeah.
out if you need
Like
to.
come for the beginning, and then whenever we land, which is sounds like it would be early
Yeah.
on, get out of there. And
Well,
then
I'm
you're good.
wondering if the wedding, the actual wedding, is happening on the cruise or if it's happening in like Mexico or something, because they
Yeah.
said, oh, we would fly out
Yeah.
for a day, so maybe they could just fly out for the wedding.
True. If it was happening on land, then they could totally do that.
Yeah.
They could totally do that. That's just weird. Also, maybe they're just lying about the other stuff
Maybe.
too. They're just like, yeah, it's just like
super hard.
like I totally would, totally. Even though
Yeah.
they like wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know? That might be a possibility.
Yeah. Bummer.
But let's read the rest. So, neither of them planned anything to celebrate with me before my wedding, like a brunch or anything. They came to the bridal shower my mom threw for me, but otherwise they didn't really even talk to me about the wedding plans at all. The wedding has now happened and it was practically perfect, but looking back at it, I still feel hurt that they weren't there, but also wondering if it's me who was an a-hole for planning it, even after they told me they couldn't and wouldn't come. Wow. And that's the end of the story. So final
Man.
thoughts, a-hole or not?
Not the a-hole.
Not the a-hole.
I think maybe next time just double check.
Yeah. Double check,
Double
triple
check.
check.
Be like, do they like cruises? I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's your wedding. And
Yeah.
if you want to go on a cruise,
Yeah.
go on a cruise.
Yeah. And it's not your fault for like thinking that they do it because they told you that they would.
said they would.
They said that they would do everything that they could to be there for you, and they weren't.
didn't. They didn't do everything.
So, what about that, Stacy and Chelsea? Huh?
Yes. Stacy.
What's up with that?
Chelsea.
Yeah.
You have C in your name, Chelsea. Can't even go out to
Go out to the sea.
the sea.
Terrible.
so does Stacy.
Yeah.
Stacy and Chelsea.
Well, Chelsea actually says C in it at the end
this
of
is
it.
ridiculous. Your name's
It's
a lie.
literally made for you guys. Don't even know.
I've been planning my wedding for 12 months and my bridesmaid still hasn't gotten her dress.
Still?
You got to get on it. It's been 12 months.
Get on it.
In the whirlwind of wedding preparations, amidst all the excitement and chaos leading up to our 2023 wedding, it became clear who truly valued friendship and who might be more of a challenge amongst our friends and acquaintances. By the way, this comes from I'm not a spam bot on the OK Storytime subreddit. Even spam bots get married.
I guess so.
You see, my husband, male 27, and I, female 27, have earmarked 2023 as our year to tie the knot. We had it all figured out. Early planning, booking everything from the officiant to the DJ, even inviting our guests in July 2022 to ensure they had enough time to prep. Plus ones were allowed, making it the most guest-friendly wedding in history. Enter the bridesmaids. One of them, Ella, female 25, was thrilled to be asked and couldn't wait to dive headfirst into DIY wedding projects. Her enthusiasm was contagious. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of the roller coaster. Now, let's roll back the calendar 12 months before the big day. My bridesmaids and I embarked on early planning, determined to keep things as simple and budget-friendly as possible. I'd heard enough horror stories about bridezillas on Reddit to know I didn't want to be one. I made it clear I couldn't foot the bill for everyone's dresses and told them it was perfectly fine if they couldn't afford it, and they wouldn't hurt my feelings if they stepped down. All I asked was that the dresses be wine red and floor length. Everything else was fair game. Some set dress options for my approval right away. Fast forward 9 months.
Oh boy.
Ella, one of my bridesmaids, broke up with her boyfriend of 7 years.
Whoa.
Liam, male 25. Her reason, she wanted to explore her sexuality and Liam wasn't on board with an open relationship. She confided in me that she had a few prospects lined up before even breaking up with them. Ugh. Not great. Keep this detail in mind. It's crucial. As fate would have it, Liam was a friend of my husband and I was friends with Ella. So both my husband and I told them they were both still welcome at the wedding as we loved them both as friends and did not take sides. Ella even asked if hypothetically she found someone new before the wedding, could she bring them as her plus one? We said they could, but it was up to them to figure it out. That's very complicated and messy.
Oh, no.
7-year relationship.
That's long.
And she's like, can I bring someone to the wedding?
yeah.
Oof. Now, let's fast forward to 6 months before the wedding. 6 out of 8 bridesmaids had found their dresses and received them in the mail. I asked Ella, and she said she hadn't found one yet. I knew she was on a tight budget, especially after a recent breakup and move to a new apartment, so I didn't press the issue. I thought she had 6 months to find a dress. What could go wrong? Everything. Should have followed up.
Seems like it.
Gotta follow up with Ella. She's untrustworthy. 3 months before the wedding, I asked Ella again if she had found a dress. Nope, she hadn't. I offered to lend her the money and explained she didn't need to pay me back right away. She declined, insisting she'd handle it. Fast forward to a month and a half before the wedding. I asked her again, and she still hadn't found a dress. I reiterated my offer, emphasizing that I was willing to cover the cost, no strings attached. Opie's like, at this point, I will pay for it.
Right.
Just buy it.
Please. This sounds like when like a teacher would assign a project like at the beginning of the semester, but it's not due to the end of the semester. And it's like, I swear it's like all that time. You have so much time to work on it, but it's actually worse because
and then you do it the day before.
Exactly. You just keep putting it off. That's my guess.
She apologized profusely for not taking care of it, but promised she'd order one soon and she can't accept my money. Later that day, she sent a picture of a dress, but it wasn't just any dress. It was a showstopper in a Barbie pink color with a slit so high you could practically see what she had for breakfast.
Oh,
The price tag, $80. Ella, is this dress okay for a wedding? Me, in wine red? Ella, no, as is. I'm wearing it to my brother's wedding. I'll even match my hair to it.
Oh my gosh.
Me, it's cute, but maybe a bit too sexy for a wedding. Ella, I don't think it's wrong of me to be proud of my body. She bought it anyway, flaunting it at her brother's wedding. She couldn't stop talking about how schmexy she felt, and I bit my tongue, refraining from mentioning that she still hadn't found her bridesmaid dress.
Oh no.
I think you should have said when she bought it, like, instead of saying, "Oh, is it too spicy?"
Yeah.
Just say it's not the right color for my wedding.
Right.
Like, just focus on that.
Assume that she's asking about it for
Yeah.
your wedding instead of her brother's. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like she kind of was. Oh,
Yeah.
well, she said, "Is this okay for a wedding?" She didn't say for
wedding.
your wedding.
Right.
Yeah.
But it feels like it was assumed that she would wear it for both.
Yeah. She
But I
says,
could
no,
be
as
making
is.
that
I'm wearing it to my brother's wedding. So it
Brother's
seems like she's
wedding.
kind of implying.
Okay. So she got. So I think the point is though that she got the dress for the brother's wedding,
Yeah.
but not for this one,
Yes.
which is a problem.
2 weeks before the wedding, she contacted me, still with no dress and no money to buy it, and asked me desperately to DIY dye the dress she wore to her brother's wedding. I was too busy with wedding preparations to care and expressed my disappointment that she hadn't taken care of it. I told her that if she had a matching shawl to cover up a bit during the ceremony, she could still be a bridesmaid. 1 week before the wedding, she reached out again and said her dyeing plan had failed due to the fabric. I lost my cool and told her to figure it out, as I couldn't handle the stress anymore. I said I was extremely disappointed, and if she didn't sort it out, she couldn't be a bridesmaid. Again, she apologized 1,000 times and promised she'd order one with express delivery immediately. When she sent confirmation that she had ordered the dress, it wasn't from a reputable local shop, but a sketchy Asian website like something out of a Wish nightmare.
Oh God.
With a 5 to 7 day delivery estimate, 12 to 27 days normal. That meant the dress would potentially arrive just 2 days before the wedding. Being the diplomatic people pleaser I am, I wished her good luck and said I hoped it arrived on time, but I also made it clear that if it didn't, she couldn't be a bridesmaid.
That's
I think
good.
that's good.
I think that's great that she made that clear.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? I hope it comes.
Yeah.
This is you. I gave you 12 months, so if it doesn't come, you can't be a bridesmaid.
Right. Like that's just kind of. It is what it is.
It is what it is. 4 days before the wedding.
Ugh.
Oh my God. She found out that Liam wanted to bring his new girlfriend, whom he'd been dating for 6 months.
Oh wow.
Ella went ballistic, calling it disrespectful, and demanded he not bring her. He complied and informed us of the change. I bet she's gonna bring someone though.
Yeah. Yeah. I
bet
thought
she's
that
gonna
was.
find-
I
yeah,
thought she was planning on.
Well,
Bringing
she asked
someone.
to, but because
Yeah.
Liam brought someone, she's like, yeah.
She just could bring someone then.
Yeah. We were frustrated as we'd already sent the guest list to the restaurant and would still have to pay for her, but we tried to stay out of the drama.
Gosh.
But the roller coaster ride wasn't over. Ella and I met up for a chat, and she casually mentioned wanting a chest tattoo from a friend who dabbles in tattooing. not a professional or licensed.
You want a full chest
She
tattoo from someone
right
who
before
dabbles.
the wedding, just
right before the wedding.
dabbles.
Yeah, for someone
Yeah.
who just has like done it once or twice.
Yeah, she's like it's like a hobby. I don't know.
I mean, I guess I don't know like how big she wants it, but if she wants a chest tattoo,
So
I'm
full-
assuming.
or no, it just is a chest tattoo.
But like,
Still,
still,
I'm presumably not the best idea to do right before the wedding.
that's crazy.
I advised her to wait a week so she wouldn't sport a fresh red tattoo in her wedding photos.
Yes.
She said she'd think about it. That evening, she messaged me saying her friend could only do it that day and she didn't think it would be a problem. Now you're getting, so you came up with the tattoo idea like a week ago and your friend was like, I can only do it Tuesday, right before the wedding.
The day of.
No, I think, or that like, I think it was like,
Like
before
that
the
day.
wedding. Yeah,
Yeah.
that day or something.
Okay. Still though, that's
yeah.
crazy because
Yeah.
you'll have the thing on it,
Yeah,
and then
you got
like
this-
it'll be
the
like
wrap.
bloody, and like the ink will be all splotchy.
Yeah,
Girl.
and you have like the ink sac too.
Yeah. Oh man.
And also she doesn't have the dress yet. So
Yeah.
that's when I snapped. I told her it might be best if she stepped down as a bridesmaid, as I couldn't handle the situation anymore, and I had too much on my plate. She freaked out, begged to say a bridesmaid, and reminded me that her dress cost $150.
Too bad.
You don't
Too
even have
bad.
it.
That's literally your fault.
You don't even have it.
Yeah.
In a moment of weakness, I caved and let her stay. No.
Oh.
Then came the plot twist of all plot twists.
Oh gosh.
That very same night, she asked if she could bring a one-night stand from the previous weekend to the wedding. She's like, I met this guy at a bar.
Right.
His name's, I think, Dave.
Yeah. Can I bring
Maybe?
him? I can show up my ex.
That's when I lost it, yelling, "Are you effing serious?" and fired off a long message about how I'd had enough. She could come to the wedding as a guest with or without her dress, but she was officially off the bridesmaid team.
Boom.
But you should never be off our team because you can join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok. Just tap her profile.
Just tap it.
Tap it. And there is a little bit left, but do you think OP made the right decision?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think you could have even made it earlier. I think you could have
absolutely.
cut her out
Oh, I didn't. Yeah.
like a month ago.
Yeah. Because that's just so ridiculous to have like all this stupid like drama about this dress.
Yeah.
But you just not getting it on time. And then involving the bride in all that stress.
That's
like
that's your thing.
yeah, you gotta leave the bride alone like before the wedding because that must be stressful.
Yeah. And then also
crazy.
involving her in your like breakup stuff.
Yes.
No.
It's like I get it that you're friends, but like you gotta find someone else to talk to
you
about this
You simply
stuff.
must have one other friend that you can
Someone
talk to.
else.
Please.
Find that one night stand.
Yeah.
Again, and
Yeah,
then
go talk to
him.
Dave.
Yeah.
There is a little bit left to the story. The day before the wedding, I found myself with a lengthy message from Ella where she spilled her disappointment in how I handled things. She said she needed to assert herself, so she decided not to attend the wedding.
All right.
Meanwhile, my husband contacted Liam, urging him to bring along his new girlfriend.
Nice.
As the big day unfolded, it turned out to be an absolutely fantastic wedding,
Yay.
filled with love, laughter, and a bit of chaos.
Yay.
All the best ones to you. What a happy ending.
That is so nice.
We don't need what's her face. I already forgot her name because she's so irrelevant. Ella.
Ella.
We don't need Ella
We don't need Ella.
and her drama.
Yes.
And I'm glad that she spent $150 on her dress because also she probably won't be able to return that.
Yep. If it's
And
from
that's-
some sketchy
yeah.
website,
And that's your own fault.
that really is. It probably doesn't even look like
No, it's
what
probably
she ordered.
pink.
Yeah.
Probably pink.
It's probably like, you know.
Wrong color, wrong size.
Yeah. Wrong material,
Yeah.
wrong everything. Yeah. I just like that she was like, you know what? I'm going to assert myself. I'm just
Yeah.
not going to come to your wedding at all.
I'm
And it's
not
like,
even coming.
oh, great. That's
Yeah.
like best case scenario
Thank
at this
you.
point. Yeah.
Don't have to
But-
deal with your issues.
Right. Happy ending.
Yes.
We love to see
I'm
it.
glad that you had a good wedding, OP.
Mhm.
Very happy. But that is the end of that story.
Woohoo.
My best friend just went wedding dress shopping, and one of her bridesmaids tried on a wedding dress.
That's crazy.
What is she doing? It's just efficiency.
Deficiency.
Two birds, one stone.
Right.
My best friend Gina got married in November 2022. We've known each other since we were babies and have been best friends our whole lives. I was her maid of honor. She had 4 bridesmaids. One of them was Kelly, her future sister-in-law. By the way, this comes from Call Me Desdenova 42 on the OK Storytime subreddit. So, Gina started dating her now husband Greg in high school, and they've been together for 8 years by the time he proposed. They were young, but I was surprised it didn't happen sooner. Kelly, on the other hand, had been with Greg's older brother Paul for 10 years, with no sign of getting married anytime soon. Due to her responsibilities at work, Gina had her first and only wedding dress appointment only 4 months before the wedding. Those present were me, Kelly, another bridesmaid, and her younger sister. Before we got started, Gina asked me if I wanted to try on dresses with her, since I was also engaged. To anyone else, this might have seemed like a fun offer for her best friend and fellow bride-to-be. But it was actually because I was pregnant. I was less than 2 months along and only told Gina to let her know I'd be close to my 3rd trimester during her wedding. I significantly postponed my own wedding due to my pregnancy, still not married. And she knew I wouldn't start looking for a gown until long after my baby was born, so she wanted me to try on dresses before I started showing.
Okay.
I was extremely thankful, but declined. Gina's appointment was only 90 minutes long, and she had her own dress to find. So it does, I guess it kind of makes sense why Kelly might have seen that as an opening. But
Yeah.
it also shows, OP's no, that's crazy.
Right.
This is about you.
Right.
We all figured that was the end of it and went to help Gina pick some dresses to try on. While we were near the rack, I noticed that the dresses that Kelly was picking and showing us were a lot different than the ones we were looking for.
Oh, gosh.
Gina was interested in simple sheath dresses with spaghetti straps or short sleeves, but most of the ones Kelly was going for were strapless A-line dresses and ball gowns. We tried to remind her that wasn't what we were supposed to be looking for, but she insisted on adding some of those dresses to the rack with the ones we were picking up anyway. Gina started trying on the dresses we'd found. We took pictures, gave our opinions, and discussed each of them with our consultant. At some point, Kelly excused herself and didn't come back for almost 15 minutes.
Oh, boy.
The amount of time one would need to try on a dress. Suspicious.
Interesting.
We were so focused on Gina that we didn't even notice how long she was gone. And we really didn't notice that she'd taken one of the dresses she'd picked with her.
Boy.
And then 40 minutes into the appointment, in walks Kelly.
Oh, no.
And I think y'all know where this is going. To her credit, she looked great. It really was a pretty dress. Strapless, had a corset bodice and a tulle skirt, a beaded sweetheart neckline, and a sweep train. Not my thing, but still flattering. And as we found later, the reason she had taken so long was because she had found another consultant to help her get into not only the dress itself, but also 2 petticoats to get the ball gown look.
What?
She went all out.
Yeah.
Girl, get your own wedding dress appointment.
Right. Don't you have to pay for that?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
how does-
assuming because you get all that champagne.
Yeah. Right. And if it's scheduled for a certain amount of time, you can't just be like, hey,
Yeah.
can I just get someone else to
I
work?
wonder how much
and,
wedding dress appointments are.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Hmm.
I didn't actually realize you had to pay for them, but
I
it
just,
makes sense that you
just
would.
right now, I was like, you probably have to pay
Yeah,
for a wedding dress
especially
appointment.
if there's a time period.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
How much do you have to pay for a wedding dress appointment? Put it in the comments.
Please.
Kelly paraded in front of us with a huge smile on her face, spinning around, going on about how much she loved the ivory dress and how she felt like such a princess before smugly asking, "Do you guys like it?" We sat there for a moment in absolute shock. Gina's sister looked like she was about to blow up on Kelly. I could tell Gina was upset, but she has both a BA in public relations and the consequential skill of not embarrassing herself or other people in public.
That's funny.
Fortunately, I have neither. So I was the first to open my mouth. I started.
Yay!
Yeah,
I'm so
this is what we
excited.
need. This is what we need from a friend at a wedding dress
Yes.
appointment. I started by asking why she was trying on wedding dresses. And Kelly had the nerve to chuckle and say, what do you mean? Gina said you could try on dresses with her. It's not my fault you said no. Why can't I do it too?
Because she didn't ask you.
She didn't freaking ask
She
you.
didn't ask you.
So I said as annoyingly and condescendingly as I could, "Oh, so you're engaged too? My bad. I had no idea.
Oh my gosh. Get her.
Nice. Drag her. At that, Kelly looked nervous. Everyone was staring at her. After a moment, she sheepishly confessed she wasn't actually engaged. The consultant that had helped her turned to her shocked, saying, "You said you were getting married in 3 months.
Stop it.
You lied to the consultant."
Call her out.
Yeah.
Call
oh my
her
God.
out to the consultant.
She tried to give us excuses. She was almost engaged. It was just one dress. It wasn't fair that I could try on dresses and not her, but it was done. Everyone at the boutique, bridal party, and staff alike was already pissed.
Oh my gosh.
After almost 5 minutes of that, Kelly finally asked someone to help her out of the dress. Once that was done, she took a seat as distant from the other bridesmaids as possible
Good.
and didn't say a word for the rest of the appointment.
Good.
As you shouldn't.
Stay away.
Stay silent
Stay
and
away.
stay away. The consultant must have apologized to Gina a dozen times. Kelly never did.
Oh,
That's so
my
embarrassing to be.
goodness.
This is her future sister-in-law,
Yeah.
and she's pulling this crap and not even
Right.
apologizing for it.
Right.
It's embarrassing.
That is.
Gina did end up finding her dress that day, so we considered the appointment a success. Kelly wasn't dropped as a bridesmaid, mostly because neither Gina or Greg wanted to upset Paul, but remained aloof and unpleasantly snarky up until the wedding. Even though I was the maid of honor, Kelly decided to avoid me as much as possible for embarrassing her the way I did.
Girl, you did that to yourself.
You did that.
That was literally all you.
You embarrassed yourself.
Yeah, she did especially as a bridesmaid, maid of honor, especially as a maid of honor, you are the one that has to stand up for the bride.
Yes.
Like, come on.
You need to. She didn't find out I was pregnant until the rehearsal dinner. It was at the dinner that she told the bridal party that she was going to give Paul an ultimatum. If he didn't propose to her that month, she'd dump him. She told the bridal party?
Oh my gosh.
It was at the rehearsal dinner? Is Paul there?
I'm assuming.
I feel like Paul would probably be there, and she's like, "Paul, I just want everyone to like." She's like, she taps the glass.
Yeah.
Hi,
Everyone needs to know.
I've been dating Paul for 10 years,
Right.
and if he doesn't propose,
Yeah.
I'm breaking up with him.
How
Thank
I'm
you.
imagining it
Yeah.
is like she's talking to the bridal party.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Hey guys, if Paul does this,
Yeah.
or if Paul doesn't propose in this month, I'm gonna break up with it." He's like right behind, like eating some cake
Yeah,
or
he's like-
something. He's like, "Wait, huh? Like, wait a second."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. A week after the wedding, he dumped her. Probably because he heard. He
Very
overheard.
cool. He said,
Dang.
"Okay, if it's one or the other, I'll pick this one." Dang.
No one was surprised. Gina and Greg are still happily married, and she is now very open about how angry she got that day. That being said, we both love telling this story. Edit, just wanted to add some things. While Kelly and Paul showed no sign of getting married or engaged, I never really thought they had to. I didn't know them much, but they were living together at the time, and Paul was working on a second degree. They were also talking about getting a cat.
Cute.
I also don't really think a 10-year relationship requires a marriage.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and my stepdad dated for a decade before getting married. In the meantime, they moved in together, got 2 dogs, and didn't talk about marriage until he proposed. And as some people have pointed out already, Kelly could have proposed to Paul herself.
True.
I'm not trying to defend Paul, but relationships are a two-way street. And yes, there's no problem with wanting to try on a wedding dress, but there's a time and a place for that, and it's definitely not during someone else's scheduled appointment, especially when the bride has a limited time frame to try her own dress. Gina has a demanding job that doesn't grant her vacations, so if she didn't manage to choose her dress during the appointment, scheduling another one would have been a huge nuisance. She was also literally paying to be there.
That's what we were saying.
As we thought.
That's crazy.
But you don't have to pay to watch us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube.
There you
Just
go.
tap our profile.
Just tap
Unless you
it.
want to be a member, and then you would have to pay a little bit for that.
But it's just a little.
It's all just a little, and everything
little.
else is free.
There's so many perks.
So many perks. But there is a little bit left.
Yeah.
But do you have any final thoughts?
Yes, I have so many. Oh,
Dang.
like it's just like I would be so mad, especially
Yeah.
confirming that she has to pay for it. I would be so
Yeah.
mad as that other consultant being like,
Mhm.
you're I'm
You're wasting
doing
my
this for
time.
you for free.
Yeah.
You didn't even have an appointment. Like, I don't know why the consultant would in
Yeah.
the first place, but like, whatever. I'm not going to blame her. Like,
Yeah.
that would piss me off.
Piss me off.
That would piss me off. Also, I'm pretty sure, like, in some states in the U.S., I don't know where they are, but like, I think in some states, like, if you're like living together for 10 years, I think that counts as like a legal
common
marriage.
law marriage.
Yeah, yeah.
Legally blonde. You're
Yes.
entitled to the dog
Exactly.
or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No,
Yeah.
I also, although this is like such a side note, but I kind of like not from a gender norms perspective,
Yeah.
but I would want someone to propose to me
yeah.
just because
Me too.
I'd be like, do they really like me?
I need it because I mean that honestly in this situation
Yeah.
is a good point. Like she
Yeah.
could propose,
Yeah,
but
like,
obviously that's
doesn't
not what
really
he
like-
wants.
yeah.
So
yeah,
wouldn't really work out anyway.
Yeah,
But yeah, I want to
Not
be
from-
proposed
yeah,
to. I just think it'd be fun.
yeah.
you know.
Literally not from a gender norms perspective.
No, not it's-
just from a I need validation. That you like me. Maybe that's a problem. Sue me.
Maybe we could talk about that off camera.
But there is a little
But-
bit more.
Oh, okay, great.
That's why I declined Gina's offer, and I expressed so in front of everyone, Kelly included. If she still wanted to try on a dress or two, she could have asked Gina, who might have said yes. It would have still been inappropriate, but it's better than what she did. Kelly also expressed that she wanted to try on more dresses, which would have definitely consumed a lot of Gina's time. Also, please don't blame Gina for this. Was I a Grinch? Probably, but it wasn't her fault. No, I would never blame Gina.
No.
I'm like, Kelly.
Yeah.
And also, you stood up for Gina, so
Yeah.
you're the hero of the day.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it would be awkward for Gina to be like mad. Like it would be totally reasonable.
Yeah.
But I think it's like
This is my
As
like
Gina-
sister-in-law. You wanna
Right,
have a good
right.
relationship.
like having someone else stand up for you is like, I don't know, sometimes feels a little more
A little
acceptable.
better. Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're good. You're good,
in the
OP.
clear. You're in the clear.
Yeah.
My father married his mistress, and their wedding was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I'm in my 20s, I'm female, been dying to tell someone this story for months. Well, here we are. We've got a lot to unpack. So, my dad, I don't know, 50-ish male, don't even know your age.
I
Yikes.
don't know. He's like 50 something.
He's a dang liar and cheated on my mom throughout their marriage of 20 years. By the way, this comes from Itchy Judgment 9343 on the r/OK Storytime
The worst
subreddit.
kind of judgment.
Ouchie. He basically met multiple women during that time and also tried to be a corn star. Wow. While married. Anyways, he had this high school girlfriend, let's call her Alina, that got mad at him and decided to mess around with multiple guys back in the day. Their relationship ended badly, and my dad was pissed for decades. He was married to my mom and was still pissed about Alina. He reconnected with her during their marriage. My dad is a narcissist and made up a bunch of random crap to tell everyone we knew about my mom to cover his butt about cheating. His lies were insane, dude. My mom had receipts, though, and sent years of proof to certain people that we knew. He was exposed, so he got desperate and started telling Alina bad stuff about my mom. Why? We're about to find out. My brother and I had our monthly visits with him then, and he mentioned he was dating someone, obviously Alina, but he kept lying about it. He claimed he hadn't seen her in decades.
Ah, yes.
My parents' divorce was not finalized just yet, and my mom was trying to be only his friend since she still cared. All of a sudden, my mom starts getting calls from a mysterious number saying their name is Alina and starts sending threats. I love how it's like from a mysterious number, but her name is Alina. This lady would call multiple times each month and send horrible voicemails and texts. She threatened to call the FBI and sue her. Lol. I don't know. Wow. I used my detective skills and found the person linked to the number and also where they lived. Lol. We made police reports and everything, so we are okay. Lol. A lot of lols here. But it was insane. She did this for a few years.
OP is
Eventually.
20 years old.
Eventually, my dad couldn't keep up with all of his lies, and people are like, what the heck? So he left the state to be with Alina. Suddenly, the threatening texts stopped once he moved in with her. I suspect she was jealous he lived near my mom, and now she feels like she won. Lol. Anywho, we didn't hear from him for months. Then he came for visitation again. Finally, he said, hey, I'm getting old, and I'm going to get married one day. So I'm like, cool? This is so hard right now. Whatever. Proves our point again. He disappears again for months, then invites us to come stay with him out of state for the next visit. While we are hanging out, thinking, okay, cool, he's gonna be a better dad now. This dude is randomly like, so, I want you to meet someone. Got a little special someone I want you to meet.
Me?
You.
Oh,
No,
me.
not you. You.
Oh,
You.
them.
You. OP. So a couple of hours later, he drives to a house, and guess who we meet? His girlfriend, Alina, the mistress.
Oh, wow.
The same mistress that he
Shocked.
cheated on, that he was obsessed with since high school, and then secretly got with her and kept lying about it. Yeah, the same one.
You caught me by surprise there, John.
You know.
Honestly, you're full of them.
You know,
Wasn't ready for that one.
we are just sitting here. I'm pissed and completely blindsided because what do you mean we are meeting your cheating partner in crime, Alina? I try to chill and push through this insane situation and just eat the dinner she cooked us. Then all of a sudden he says, so, you see your ring?
Oh.
I look down and this woman has an engagement ring. So I'm double pissed because that's literally how we met this woman and found out that that they were getting married all on the same day while eating terrible spaghetti.
I bet I know where that spaghetti came from.
A week later, I'm back in state at our house like, wow, that was crazy. I said, well, it's all right. The wedding will be sometime far off in the future. I don't have to think about this now. I'm casually drinking my tea on a Wednesday afternoon when all of a sudden my dad calls my mom and tells her he needs my brother's help for that Saturday. I'm like, no way. There's no way. But sure enough, I get a call from him saying that his wedding is that Saturday.
Yup, that's what I was thinking.
Wow, that's a little quick, don't you think?
Nope, not fast enough. He asked me, can I go to his wedding that Saturday? He has always done everything last minute, but I thought there's surely no way he'd do this for a freaking wedding, right? I asked him when he started planning and why didn't he tell me sooner? He says, wait for it. He just started planning it that week. So this wedding was in 3 days and he planned nothing. I completely didn't want to go and I wouldn't have gone, but my brother and mom encouraged me to do so. So I was like, whatever. Literally what OP wrote. The day comes around. I'm worried because he's not very organized or thoughtful. I can tell. I was agitated because nothing he ever does is simple and planned, and I knew somehow I was going to be forced to be involved. I told my grandmother, I swear to God, he better not make me the DJ or some crap. So he tells us to meet him at his hotel at 3, and the wedding starts at 5. I love how there's no rehearsal dinner. There's nothing. It's just like, let's all just get together.
John, when it comes to love, you just feel it.
We get ready to head over there. He says he's running late. So we wait for him outside of the hotel for almost an hour. He finally gets to his hotel. It's like 3:45. And he's casually in a t-shirt and jeans. My brother and I are shook. We scurry to try to help him get ready in his room. He literally has 15 minutes to get ready because apparently he booked another hotel venue an hour away.
What?
To have the actual wedding.
Who is this guy? What planet is this guy from?
He's in his hotel getting ready to go to another hotel an hour freaking away, dog. He has no concept of time, I swear. He started dyeing his hair and beard and took a shower. As my brother and I are watching him rip apart the room looking for his shirt, he casually says to me, yes, you're the DJ.
He called it.
The one thing Opie specifically was like, do not make me this. It truly amazes me how predictable he is. So we finally leave at 4:15. The venue is an hour away and the wedding starts at 5. So he has 45 minutes with an hour drive. And there's also traffic. In the car, he suddenly looks over to me and he asks if I can get the sandwiches. I'm like, oh, what sandwiches?
DJ sandwich.
Like a pickup order from a vendor, where, how? Because we both know I still don't have my license. Opie can't even drive. Okay. That's when he proceeds to tell me that he needs me to order sandwich sliders from Uber Eats.
Oh my! Can you imagine getting the 300 slider order?
Honey, we got a wedding in an hour.
And you know,
Start
this-
the order.
I stared at him in disbelief for a couple of seconds, and I was like, okay, what delivery address? I've dealt with this my whole life. Funniest part is he procrastinated so long that not even Uber Eats would bring the sliders on time. No free sponsors. I ordered them anyway, though. So now it's 5:10 p.m., and we are officially late to the wedding. He's still running around in a t-shirt with his dress pants. We walk into the place. And I look around the room to take in the sight. The hotel was very raggedy, and they didn't sweep or clean anything. Someone had quite literally wee-weed on couches and chairs at the front of the hotel.
And they say chivalry is dead.
So I ignore that, and we go to the reserved room. Inside, my dad has set up the foldable chairs and 2 foldable tables, a half-assed flower arch. It was a fragile-looking arch with 5 plastic flowers just stuck on it.
No.
And guys, and my favorite, the piece de resistance. In the corner were a bunch of Uber Eats and Instacarted foods that he purchased on sale.
Ah, yes.
Oh,
All the sale for sale stickers. Like,
On sale.
so I just stared at that table in disbelief. He didn't even bother to remove the $2 clearance sticker, red stickers.
Well, he wanted to know everyone to know how good of a deal he got.
Yeah, I got a good deal, guys. You might be saying, maybe he couldn't afford anything else. Maybe that's why this is happening. No, it's not about the money. It's about the half-assery. Also, he makes a lot of money, so he could have spent more if he wanted to. Anywho, it's 5:20 p.m.-ish. Bride is nowhere to be found, of course. All of the guests have arrived, like 7 or 8 people, and we're all just staring at each other. Dad's running around back and forth while barking at us to make the food tables look presentable while everyone is already like fully there.
And I like to imagine he's just barking.
Oh, definitely.
He's not even like saying words.
Clean food. He leaves for a bit and then comes back in and announces to the guests that the bride is on her way and that the wedding was a surprise wedding.
A surprise. Hey, you can't surprise wedding somebody.
He further explains that he had told Alina a fake story to get her to the hotel. He tells her that he broke down on the side of the road and the police are taking the car and arresting him. He tells her that he broke down on the side of the road and the police are taking the car and arresting him and he needs her help. He laughs this off like it's hilarious. I cannot make this crap up. The guests laugh. I think they all truly need help. And then he leaves again and we all just stare into space. Well, meanwhile, as Opie says, the wedding officiant looked around completely appalled by the half-assed deco and the surprise wedding. The man looked so concerned. I wanted to laugh so bad. Dude, I would be dying. Finally, Dad goes back in and says, the bride has arrived. The bride has arrived.
The surprise bride.
She came in. As you may well know, I was granted the title of the DJ. So he'll give me the signal when to play the music. She walks in, looks stressed as heck, but seems like she has predicted this wedding.
After all that, and she knew it was gonna happen.
She knows.
It's no surprise.
As she walks down the aisle, I'm waiting for the signal to play the music, but it never came. I'm looking for a nose twitch or something, but he completely forgot. And when I looked up, Alina was already halfway down the aisle. I was like, oh crap, and just pressed play. The room was so small, it played for 3 seconds, and she completely walked down the aisle. Woo! Whew. So now they're holding hands and whatever. My brother gives them the rings. They start their vows. And
What's in that soap?
oh, some good. All of a sudden, I get a text from Instacart telling me the sliders have arrived. So now I don't know what to do. Do I just do I get up in the middle of the ceremony or just sit here? What if she drives off? So I'm just sitting there panicking with these sandwiches while the witch is confessing her undying love and whatever. It's finally over, but when people just start grabbing the mic and giving unprovoked speeches, even the marriage officiant gave a speech and said, "Thank God this went well."
Everyone's just freestyling.
I thought this was going to be horrible. You know, the surprise wedding and all, but it went pretty well. The poor guy has seen some things. Lol.
Wow.
By the way, if you want to see some things like this story, we have full episodes of these stories on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Just go to those apps, Spotify and the rest, and search OK Storytime. It'll pop right up and you get some more good times for full episodes, not just one story.
That's right.
So after all of that, Opie says, it's over, and I've zoned out. When I look back up, I noticed the whole room is looking at me. Turns out I was supposed to play the song again as they walked back down the aisle, but we didn't discuss that. My dad says, "Put the music on, put it on." So I don't know. I panicked and started playing the party music for the reception. I eventually figured it out and just replayed the first song for the walkout. Anyways, I finally get those sandwiches, and they were quite tasty.
Oh,
there we
good.
go. I sat by myself and drank the can of whiskey I smuggled in afterwards. The whiskey was great. Not gonna lie. In the end, the cheaters had a half-assed, completely bombed wedding, and also my dad forgot to submit the paperwork to actually legally be married, and they're not actually married. I don't know if they know that, but I do. My mom's mom is nosy. I looked up to dad. If you got this far, thanks for reading. Love your vids. And that is, wow, the finito to what a beautiful tale that was.
My sister is having unrealistic financial demands for her wedding, and it turned into drama.
Let's be realistic here so we don't have any drama.
A little background. I am the second youngest of 5 kids. My older siblings are 2 brothers and 1 older sister who we'll call E for the purposes of this post. By the way, this comes from user CuteQuarter9399 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So Eve and I have a 5-year age gap, and as a result, we never really had that sisterly bond you would expect most sisters to have. Growing up, I was always a burden to her, and anytime it was my turn to pick the family movie or really anything, she would get upset. The reason being that she had control issues as early as 9. So I'm guessing you can already see where I'm going with this. I'm currently 18, about to turn 19, and Eve turned 24 earlier this year. Her boyfriend, A, who I will call Alan, or Adam.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. You missed the opportunity.
I missed the T up there. Adam proposed to her at a family beach day earlier in June of this year. It was one of those big white letters and rose petals proposals, which he set up before my family arrived. She was thrilled, said yes, and my parents were very happy along with my older siblings. The youngest is 4, so I don't think she understood what was happening.
Whoa, those are big age gaps.
I mean,
24, 19.
Now here's the drama.
There it is.
Since the proposal, she has gone into full bridezilla mode. At the behest of my mom, Eve made me a bridesmaid, so now I'm roped into all the BS. And so far, these are the demands my sister has made. Number 1, all bridesmaids are to pay for their own dresses, which is $300 in blush pink, shoes, hair, and makeup. Number 2, all bridesmaids need to attend all wedding and bachelorette events, including the $800 bachelorette spa day, the bachelorette vacation weekend in Toronto and staying at the Fairmont Hotel, which is $1,000 just for the hotel, the dress appointments, even if it's just for the bride, all alterations covered by the person themselves, $300 dress plus approximately $300 of alterations, all things to do with the wedding, like the cake, the venue, the catering, they need to attend. The cake and food tasting, they all need to pay $25. The guests and the bridal/groom party need to pay $150 to reserve their spots, and gifts have to be either cash, check, or from the list of registry items. She has a spreadsheet of what everyone is gifting and has said she will return items that aren't from her registry or match her theme. My mom says all of this is bride anxiety, and I say it's just my sister trying to control everything because she wants a December wedding on a ski hill. Blech. Anyways, I figure if people are interested, I could update periodically on what happens. And edit to add, I realized I didn't include the controlling parts. My bad. Here they go. So all the bridesmaids need to go get hair and skin appointments every 6 weeks to ensure our hair and skin are flawless for pictures. Whoa. And of course, they're paying for that out of pocket.
I think everything that's going to be accommodated here is going to be out of pocket.
Anyone with tattoos needs to cover them. Our dresses are going to do that. They go to the neck, ankles, and wrists. The bride wants to be the only one sleeveless, showing her tattoos and colorful hairstyle. Either we need to get our hair dyed to a natural color or wear a wig at our expense. The dresses only come in sizes 00 to 10, which is a pretty good range for most, but those who don't fit are expected to try to lose weight. I'm a size 12 and already my sister is calling me fat. She sent me a keto diet book through Amazon. I'm not going.
I'm out.
I'm not going. None of the vendors are to communicate directly to the bride and groom. It has to go through us first. She made a Gmail with last name wedding, which we all have access to, and we aren't supposed to ask her if something's okay. We should just know. This is the part that stresses mom out. We need to remind the guests that they need to pay a deposit of $150 to save their spot. And if we don't get it, they don't come. We also need them to confirm what they'll purchase from the registry or the dollar amount they'll give. Edit number 2, y'all are making me realize my family is not normal. I'm going to look into therapy with my university and seeing if I can move into residence earlier. I want to thank the person who private messaged me about getting my mom off my bank account and also get my birth certificate. I think I'm going to do that after I talk to the people at the bank. I texted my mom, I'm at work right now, if her dad and I can talk about it while sister is gone to her fiancé's for the night. I'm hoping to show my mom and dad this post to help them understand where I'm coming from. There's a third edit. I'm going to take some time away from this alt just because a lot of you are right. This isn't normal. Our relationship as a family is not normal. I called my aunt while I was at work. For those of you who don't know, she's my godmother and she thinks my mom is nuts. And we talked about it. She's encouraging me to talk to my parents about everything, not only the wedding, but favoritism since childhood. And she's also on standby in case things go to crap. My shift at work finishes in a few more hours, and then I'll go back home and pack a quick bag of stuff for my aunt to grab before my parents and I talk. And now we have the big update. But before that,
Where's the husband in all of this?
probably being controlled.
I feel like he hasn't had any say, but we don't get that context. Sounds like it. But good on OP that she's realizing I'm talking to someone who's family, but not really family, and they're backing me up.
All right, let's get into this update. Firstly, I just wanted to apologize for how long this has taken. My parents originally planned to talk that night, but mom said she wasn't feeling good and decided to go to sleep early around 6 p.m., and that feeling stayed for a while. We then got busy moving my sister into her fiance's place, and by the time everything settled, my parents forgot we had something to discuss and kind of brushed it off to the side. We finally had the conversation 2 days ago, and I needed a day to think and just react to things. So without further ado, here's the update. As you can expect, this update is not the best, but not really for the reasons you might think. I don't know if I have a text limit, so apologize if there's a part 2 link below. So turns out my dad never knew the whole story. He knew he was responsible for paying for my sister's dress and a portion of the wedding or honeymoon. The reason for this is that my parents told me, and dad confirmed with bank records, that my parents had been setting up $25K accounts for myself and each of my siblings. The rule was that these accounts could be used for anything once we turned 19 and went off to post-secondary school. It was our money to use. I had just turned 19 and my dad was getting ready to sign the money over to me when we had this conversation, which caused a bit of a blow up. But right now I need to give some background info I was given. So Right after sister got engaged, she apparently had a conversation with my mom about how she always felt like the child left out. She's used this line before, so I do believe my mom fell for it and was guilt tripped. As a result of a very long conversation, my mom figured that she could divert some of the funds from all the kids' accounts to pay for sister's wedding. For those wondering, my 2 older brothers are in the military. They aren't married yet and live on the base. They never used their $25K because the Army in Canada pays for your education and housing, so my mom had $50,000 at her disposal. Then combined with my sisters and my $25,000, it would have been $100K. Mom figured that because I had $17,000 saved up, she could just give me my $25K later for a car or a house payment or a wedding. Bleh. Sister did this because, again, she is a master manipulator. Side note, thank you to the wonderful Redditors who sent me to various subreddits for narcissism and support, along with those who sent articles on it to me. She used some of my mom's mental and physical health conditions against her. When I was born, mom went through very bad postpartum depression, resulting in her leaving to a treatment facility for 4 months, leaving my sister, 2 brothers, me, and dad behind. My 2 older brothers at the time were 9 and 7 at the time, and me only a few months. Sister, for reference, was 5 or just shy of 5. I honestly don't care to calculate. Since my brothers were trouble, my dad and his brother, my uncle, had his hands full. And a live-in nanny did the stuff for me, so my sister had my aunt who lived with us at the time and got little to no attention from dad at an age where attention is important. I think that triggered the bad sides of her to come out. While the nanny did help my sister with basics like food and water, bath, clothes, and playtime, she wasn't a replacement for mom. Even my aunt wasn't a replacement for mom, despite her being there mainly for the sister and sleeping in the same bed as her, helping her with homework, having girl trips, etc. So when mom came back, sister had a huge grudge, but not to mom, to me. I was the reason mom left, which led to her trying to smother me with a pillow. Mom caught her in time, and it was a, quote, funny story for us as a family. Turns out, that's a coping mechanism. Over my childhood, sister has used manipulation to get what she wants, and she did it for the wedding too. Mom felt bad and decided to give her little dove everything she desired. Common things I heard growing up were, you always give me XYZ, I want this, and then proceeds to have a meltdown. As sister grew up, it wasn't little toys and candy anymore, but girls' trips. And as a result of this, dad and I grew very close. He's my best friend. My sister and I had a decent relationship when I was 12 to 14, but it changed again when mom got pregnant with youngest sister, which was an accident, and I became the target again for sister's rage and abuse. While I know it doesn't excuse a lot of things, I figured it would be important to give you all the whole story since I forgot some very important details in my last post. Update number 2. So now, with the back info done, here's what happened. A day after sister moved out, I asked my mom and dad to please finally have the conversation with me. Mom was feeling better, so we sat down and we're talking. I told them how I felt, how much of a financial toll it would be on me, and how it wasn't fair, etc. Well, dad blew up. He didn't know about the $100K or the things that sister was doing. He didn't like the fact that mom used a lot of your father and I agree talk, even though they hadn't agreed.
Of course she didn't.
Yeah.
Agree. Of course they didn't talk.
So dad is mad at the girls, not OP, but the wife and the sister. We worked through the wedding issue, which I don't have to attend, good, and the $25K for me issue, which dad is signing over early. Then I was asked to go to my room for a bit because dad and mom wanted to talk. They settled the budget issue on their own. Dad then asked why I didn't feel comfortable to talk to them earlier, so I showed them this post. My dad snapped. He immediately called my sister and told her to come here ASAP because he needed to talk to her and would not accept excuses. Sister said she would be here in 4 hours because she was with fiancé and his parents. Dad pressed and she hung up and blocked him. Dad told me to go to my room once again, but to leave my phone so they could go over the post and see the comments. I don't know exactly what happened, but mom came to talk to me later. She then told me about the postpartum depression. So we solved our issues and I finished by asking if sister would go to therapy because mom's convinced that the 4-month leave caused this stuff in her. Mom said she'd try, but can't force. I told her if sister doesn't go, I'm going no contact with her and possibly low contact with mom. I support going no contact with the sister. I don't support going low contact with the mom because she's right. At that point, she's 26. She can't force her to go to therapy.
Yeah, but also the mom needs to realize that she's being manipulated. And
That's true. Dad then joined in on the conversation and assured me I would get my money and that I wouldn't have to go to the wedding if I didn't want to. Since sister is charging $150 per guest, she can pay for her grandiose wedding with that. The soon-to-be brother-in-law and his family aren't paying for crap, apparently, so now they have to, or sister doesn't get to have her ski hill wedding. Speaking of the $150 fee, y'all were right. It was my sister who concocted the whole thing and told mom it was an Italian thing. What? What?
What?
What is she talking about?
An Italian thing.
Italians, sound off in the comments if you know what the heck this person's talking about. So we talked to sister's mother-in-law when she dropped sister off, and mother-in-law was shocked that sister had said that. There is apparently a money dance, but no $150 fee. So on to what happened when sister came back. She came after 5 hours, and while mother-in-law was there, she was sweet as pie. But as soon as mother-in-law left, oh Lord, the gates to HE double hockey sticks broke loose. She demanded why dad disturbed her peaceful evening and demanded he drive her back. Dad said he didn't care and to sit down. She refused. They fought. Finally, she sat down after dad started pulling out various tricks, including money, or telling mother-in-law about sister's true nature, which I guess the fiance hasn't seen much of. I was excused to my room again. There was a lot of angry yelling back and forth.
I know all about that.
And a lot of manipulation from the sister, including threats of low contact or no contact, or not seeing any possible grandkids in the future. She was trying to get mom to go back to the original $100,000 plan, and mom and dad refused to budge. The fighting continued and stopped when my dad yelled, saying mom isn't her punching bag, and her postpartum depression was not her fault, and if she was that angry about it, go to therapy. Which again...
Well, guess what? Guess what, Dakota? If I go to therapy, they're not going to give me money. I just want money.
Right, and this person probably would not be honest with their therapist.
No.
That's the
No,
thing.
not at
That's
all.
the other thing about therapy is if you go, you have to tell the truth. You have to be honest. You have to be real.
No, it's my side of the story and I want money.
After that, I was called back down and we went over all the issues, starting with the keto book. Sister tried to defend, saying I was fat and lazy, but dad defended me. Sister started to cry, eye roll, and mom told dad to be a little softer, which he did. We finally discussed everything, and I felt like part of the family instead of like a punching bag. Sister eventually got an Uber and left because she was being attacked. We're going to wait until Christmas time when brothers are back in town so we can all discuss what we need as a family to go forward and be healthy. But it will most likely be therapy or cutting sister out. Mom and dad are still figuring out the full budget issue with my sister's in-laws. My parents told them that for such a wedding to happen, everyone would need to contribute. In-laws agreed that $100,000 for a wedding is insane. Last I heard, sister will get her $15,000 for the wedding, which is basically $5,000. Because $10,000 dress, since it's already ordered, the other $10,000 is being held for something tangible. And then her in-laws are being generous and helping with $15,000, $10 to the wedding and $5 to the honeymoon. You spent $10K on a dress you'll wear once? Crazy! As for my schooling, dad and I are going to the bank tomorrow and we're going to pay the cancellation fee for the loan I had to take out. The loan only officially starts when I start school, so thankfully the cancellation fee is very small. My dad is paying for the fee because he admits that I should have never had to take the loan out. My parents agreed that my first year of university along with the housing costs will not come out of my budget, the $17K or the $25K, and they will pay themselves. The full amount that they budgeted for me is going to be transferred into something called a TFSA for later in life. Well, mom and I still have a somewhat rocky relationship, and sister absolutely hates me. She blamed me for everything and said that I have caused irreparable damage to her relationship with her fiance and in-laws. Oh yeah, because that's your sister's fault, not your fault, right?
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah, if your relationship with your fiance is falling apart, it's someone else's fault. Right.
I just helped your fiance.
Because of this, she has banned me from the wedding and from her life. I honestly don't care. I don't really see it as losing a sister. I see it as losing a bully. I made a promise to my mom and dad that I would never treat my younger sister like that. I'm going to be the role model she deserves, and I'm going to be her protector like my brothers and my father were for me. I think I covered everything that needs to be covered, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'm very thankful for the subreddit for teaching me what a real family's about and for teaching me about boundaries and communication. Have an amazing life, you gorgeous humans. And we have a third update. Hey everyone, I figured I'd update since it's been a very long time. Ooh, I apologize. I lost the login to this account, but I just found it. So here's the update. Family therapy is going really well. My two brothers were given temporary leave to come back to Canada. They were both stationed overseas for a bit. I believe they have to go back after this to help the family therapy process. Our family is getting back on track and my mom and I are closer than ever. Yes! It honestly feels like I have my best friend back. As for my sister, honestly, I don't know what's going on with her. A friend of mine still follows her social media and everything seems well. The wedding was moved up to November 26th instead of December 17th like she originally planned. Her and her fiancé have bought a place. Apparently, and this is just rumors, she's pregnant. My sister has cut all of us off, and her fiance's family is talking crap about us, but we're holding strong. In other more exciting news, I'm loving Ottawa. I go back home once a month for in-person therapy, but I also have 3 virtual sessions monthly. On top of that, my oldest brother is getting married. So while I lost a terrible sister, I gained an amazing sister-in-law. She's so sweet. She texts me every couple of days, gets me Uber Eats orders when I'm down despite being provinces away. She's so sweet. She asked if I would feel comfortable being her maid of honor. She's an only child and her mother passed away, and I agreed.
Oh my God.
Wow.
This is just like perfect. You eliminated the evil sister and you got the good stepsister.
Yeah, what is it? One bad apple can spoil the bunch.
Guess what? You kick away that bad apple.
By this time next year, I'll have an official new sister. There's not a whole lot else to say, but I also have a boyfriend. What? He's in the army too. I guess I couldn't get away from it. And very supportive and loving. Our 6-month anniversary is in January and I'm looking forward to it. Anyways, thank you so much, Reddit. You are all amazing, beautiful, soulful humans and I hope you all have prosperous, healthy, and fruitful lives. I love you all. Sincerely, Cute Quarter 9399. And there's a 4th update.
Out of nowhere.
Let's go.
Do we need a 4th update?
Let's find out.
Let's
I don't
find
know.
out.
Maybe this is an update about the brother's wedding.
Maybe she's getting married.
A lot of people wanted to know what happened at the wedding yesterday. So I shall provide the update. My family and I were banned from going, but my cousins and friends in her now husband's family filled me in. Not a whole lot happened at the ceremony. The mother of the groom showed up in an off-white dress, and a few people brought their kids despite it being a child-free ceremony, but no true drama happened until the reception. Woo! And by the way, if you want more full episodes with dramatic, juicy stories just like this one, all you need to do is go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcasts and search OK Storytime to find full episodes with stories like this.
We'll be shouting in your ears.
Happy for OP. OP is one. The family knows that the sister is bad news. What's going to happen here?
I feel like at the reception, they'll be like, where's your family? Wait, where's your family?
Oh.
Why is your family not here?
I think she's going to storm out of her own wedding.
No. I think the wedding's going to be fine. I think it's just not.
Or no, I mean the reception. Yeah, not her ceremony, but she's gonna leave her own shindig early and make a big scene of it. That's my guess.
I think she's gonna be like, if you talk about my family, you're out. Don't talk about my family. They're not here for a reason. It's my wedding, my rules. Go away.
Oh, she's gonna kick other people out.
I can see that happen.
Oh my God. Okay.
Because guess what? This wedding's not going her way.
Guys, that is so dumb. If you're going to a wedding, do not wear white. Easy.
But you know what? This is the one time I'm like,
I mean, yes, haha, but like, come on, man. Here's the rest of the story. So I somewhat feel bad for my sister because of this, but the mother of the groom invited one of the groom's exes.
That wasn't on our bingo card.
Whoa, I guess that was in the hopes that it would break them up, but it didn't work. She tried to get between my sister and her now husband, but her husband, and I give him props for this, told her to leave. Honestly, all around, it wasn't dramatic. They made it to the altar and are leaving for their honeymoon today or tomorrow. But one thing that was confirmed is my sister is definitely pregnant. At the end of the wedding speeches, the groom gave his speech with a slideshow, with the last slide being an ultrasound picture and the baby last name due June 2023. Sorry, it isn't much of an update. Well, don't apologize because that was a great story.
Great story.
And it has come to an end, you know?
Good on you, OP. You did what you needed to do. Happy that your family opened their eyes. They opened your eyes, other than your sister.
Your family knows. And clearly the groom's mom also knows. the groom's
That's
mom was trying
that's
to
a whole other bag that I don't want to open right now.
trying to sabotage the wedding.
We
She's
probably
like,
honestly,
I can't have my son be married to this monster.
let's be honest, we may have read it before.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
But congrats that you found a sister-in-law in replace of your
Yeah.
evil sister.
That's the end of that story, but don't go anywhere because we got another one coming right up.
Stick around.
My friends don't get along, so I didn't put a single one of them in my bridal party.
Causing too much drama.
Nuke it. I had a great wedding, but I still wonder if I was in the wrong on this. Also, all fake names. My husband and I live in his hometown, not mine. When we moved in together in his hometown, his guy friends and their significant others became my friends as well. By the way, this comes from Albini Weenie on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So I need to give some background and relationship dynamics before I get into this. Everyone hang in, Ming Ming, there is a lot of new names here.
Damn, all flowers. Daffodil?
Daffodil.
Oh, is that what you're waiting for? I thought you were just like, there's so many flower names.
I've never seen daffodil spelled out before.
Oh.
Wow. Wow, I don't really read that much, man. Oh, man. Daisy, Daffodil, Rose, and Lily are all girlfriends of mine that I know because of my husband. Daisy and Daffodil are the significant of the two of my husband's guy friends. Rose is a friend of his high school, and Lily is Rose's wife. I am closer with Daisy and Daffodil because we have a weekly girls' night, and when my husband and his guy friends hang out, us girls come along too, and we hang out together. Rose and Lily are not usually included in these gatherings because Daisy and Daffodil don't like them. Rose is not a fan of Daisy. When I host events, I invite everyone, but when Daisy or Daffodil hosts, Rose and Lily are not included. Now, I didn't want to deal with any of this for my wedding, so I wanted to keep the bridal party small. In order to make things easier for me and to avoid weird tension and drama, I thought the best thing would be not to have Daisy, Daffodil, Rose, or Lily in my bridal party. I wanted to make a small bridal party anyways, and it would be mean to pick some of them and not all of them. So I told all 4 girls that I have decided not to have them to be bridesmaids because I wanted a small bridal party to keep things easier for me and that it would be impossible and unfair of me to pick some of them and not others, and I didn't want anyone to have their feelings hurt because they were not picked and someone else's was. You know how you have those like she asked me to be a bridal like thing and it's like big on social media? OP did the opposite.
Yeah.
It's like, I asked her not to be my
I
bridesmaid.
said none of you are going to be my bridesmaids. And also the hearts signify that OP's closer to Daisy and Daffodil.
Yeah.
But none of them are bridesmaids. I feel like they're going to be pretty upset about that.
Okay, they were still invited to the wedding events like my bachelorette party and bridal shower.
Okay.
I let them know that I would love them at these events if they could make it, but not to sweat it if they couldn't make it. They all ended up coming to my bachelorette party and not the bridal shower. I had a great time at both of these events and I thought everything was good. For my bridal party, I had my sister, sister-in-law, and 2 childhood best friends. Okay, for my bridal party, I had my sister, sister-in-law, and 2 childhood best friends. All of these people I had known for much longer than the 4 girls. A week before my wedding, Daisy and Daffodil and I had our weekly girls' night. At this girls' night, they told me they were upset and disappointed at me that they were not selected as bridesmaids. They said they thought we were all good enough friends and that they deserved to be included and that they felt bad that they were missing out on things like dress shopping and getting ready together in the bridal suite.
Okay, I don't think you can really be like, we deserve to be your bridesmaids.
I deserve being your bridesmaid. I had to live with you for a year.
Yeah.
I totally deserve
You're
that.
in.
I'm in.
Yeah.
But like, you don't get to call the shots on what you deserve. And plus, like,
that's her wedding.
and plus, like, she had like other people in her life. Like, come on,
Yeah, she has other closer friends and siblings.
get out of here. The thing is, though, I didn't want to do any of that stuff with my bridesmaids. They all live in different areas, so most wedding planning I did was with my husband and our parents. I got my wedding dress with my mom only. My husband's parents went to check out venues with us and did the food tasting. My sister would ask about wedding stuff since she was my maid of honor, but she didn't do anything to help plan the wedding because I had it covered. There was no bridal suite. I got ready with my mom and my dad in their hotel room so my husband wouldn't see me. I feel like the things Daisy and Daffodil said they were missing out on were things that never happened and my actual bridesmaids didn't even do. And Daisy, Daffodil, and I all got mani-pedis together before the wedding that I paid for because I wanted them to feel a little prettier and I thought it would be more fun with them instead of going alone. Yeah, so she did do kind of her version of getting ready together.
Yeah, Yeah, like they're still part of it. I mean,
Yeah.
they're going to the bachelorette party, they're going to the bridal shower. They're still part of most of the things. They're just making drama, which is why they're not bridesmaids, because they're freaking making drama.
Also, besides with the parents, I didn't talk about my wedding in front of Daisy or Daffodil or with anyone really unless I was asked about it. I like planning and I'm pretty organized. So it was a pretty fun, chill process with not a lot to talk about anyways. I was absolutely crushed when they told me that I hurt them. This was what I was trying to avoid, and I was sad and guilty that I hurt them, but also angry that they wouldn't bring it up a week before my wedding after telling them my reasoning behind why I chose or didn't choose who I did to be bridesmaids. It made me feel like they cared more about the bridesmaids title than they did about me.
Yeah.
And it completely consumed me and brought me down the days leading up to my wedding when I should have been excited. Oh,
They're making it all
heck
about them.
yes.
Yeah, they're making it all about them, which is like the whole point of being a bridesmaid is to make it easier for the bride. And they're making it harder, and they're not even bridesmaids, and they're proving why they shouldn't be.
Yeah. And they're probably like, oh my gosh, like, you know, at my wedding I did this, blah, 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 blah. Plus, OP, you weren't at their weddings. Oh my gosh. I told them I was sorry and that there wasn't a ton I could do about it now. I ended up talking to my mother-in-law about including them in the rehearsal lunch since she was planning and paying for it, and then we were able to add them in. I also arranged with the photographer to have photos of us taken after the wedding to try to make it up to them, and we will make it up to you on your all very good or very bad days when you join us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Where do you go, Sophia?
On Facebook, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube. Just top her profile.
We got a little bit more here. Should OP be doing this? She should be going out of her way to make her friends feel more included.
No, I would just be like, dude, guys, my day, I don't have time.
Yep.
I probably honestly wouldn't say that because I'm a little bit of a conflict avoidant.
I have a crippling people-pleasing addiction.
But what you should do is be like, you know what? You guys have made this a lot about yourselves.
Yep.
And it's not really fair to me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love you guys, but making it hard.
I think taking photos afterwards is nice.
Yeah.
Because they are important to OP, but I don't like the way... Well, and also, Daisy and Daffodil probably were like we wanted to have special moments with you, blah, blah, blah. But they should have brought it up earlier.
Yeah. Come on.
Here we go. Even though this happened a little bit ago and didn't end up affecting my actual wedding day, thankfully, I'm not over it. I can't imagine being so entitled that I feel I deserve to be a bridesmaid in someone's wedding and then complaining about it when it doesn't happen.
That's ridiculous.
I feel like they were being selfish and thoughtless. They really hurt me, and I feel like I can no longer trust them. They have no idea how much they hurt me, and honestly, I'm glad they weren't bridesmaids because they thought doing this was okay and didn't think about how it would affect me a week before my wedding. I know Daisy and Daffodil are over it because Daffodil asked me to be in her wedding, and you better bet that I'm going to be Miss Positive Patsy, and I will not bring that girl down like she did me. So am I the a-hole for not including my friends in my bridal party to avoid hurting feelings, but then having that happen anyways? Ooh,
No, you're not the a-hole. Your friends are the a-hole.
Yeah, your friends are not. They're like, you can't just like lay a minefield the week before a wedding happens. That's crazy.
Yeah, keep it to yourself.
Keep it to
You can bring it up
yourself.
later and be like, hey, like I was a little bit hurt by this.
So that's the DLDR on that story.
My mother-in-law destroyed my $11,000 wedding dress because she wanted to try it on. That's bad. I'm located in Virginia. I purchased a wedding gown that cost me over $11,000. That's also crazy in general.
Yeah, that's just
You
a
got
lot of money.
Then paid substantially more in alterations. Over the weekend, my future mother-in-law decided to attempt to put on my dress and failed horribly. How do you fail so badly that you irrevocably destroy this dress? By the way, this comes from Administrative Main 7, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, long story short, it's beyond repair and completely ruined. What did she do?
I'm guessing it just like didn't fit or
Yeah,
something.
but,
and
like,
so she just like ripped it or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I also have reason to believe that she caused deliberate damage to the dress because of certain areas that were torn. My fiance doesn't believe that we're able to take her to court and recoup the money because it's just a dress, and he thinks the cost of the dress doesn't meet some financial threshold to sue her. No, I think it just has to be above $10,000.
I have no idea. Let us know in the chat.
In the chat, put it down. I want to know if that's true and if it would be feasible to file a police report on her because of the more deliberate damage. I know it's just a dress, but this goes beyond the dress. Well, it's just an $11,000 dress. It's
Yeah.
not like it was like a $50 dress.
Right, right.
It's an $11,000 dress.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can go to at least small claims, if not more. Update. Hey, everyone. First of all, thank you for all the sweet comments and support. I'm sorry that I haven't kept everyone in the loop, but the last several weeks have been truly trying, to say the least. First things first, the wedding is off. Whoa.
Whoa.
Honestly, a little bit, I mean, I know, not that surprising given
Yeah.
that the husband was like, it's just a dress.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he would have been more on her side if this
Right.
was, you know.
Right. That's crazy though.
Yeah, that was quick.
Let's hear about that.
We are still together and remain engaged. Okay.
Oh.
Never mind. I spoke too soon.
Maybe we should have read
Uh,
one sentence.
But things are very, very strained between us. The only thing that has really stopped me from leaving this relationship is that I love him from the bottom of my heart, and I can see how much this is hurting him. I really want to work past this if we can. We're both committing to seeing a couples therapist. After future mother-in-law ruined my dress, my fiance confronted her by telephone and demanded that she help cover the damages to the dress. She refused because she said it was an accident, and she really was just trying to help. She literally tried to spin this as her effing helping me by, I quote, giving me a standard to aspire to. What standard?
What?
And she also effing admitted that she just wanted to feel as young and beautiful as me. The worst part is that he believed her BS. At this point, after she refused to pay, I started pitching a fit until fiance said that we shouldn't jump to conclusions on the damage until we visited the seamstress. That is fair. That is fair. Fine by me. We went together and the assessment was that it was completely trashed. It is beyond repair. I really would love to see the damages.
Me
'Cause,
too.
Wow. The beading in some parts is absolutely destroyed. The sheer back of the dress was torn to shreds from her disgusting fake nails. She also ripped the tulle on my train and the seams were split so badly, and she'd torn through other parts of the dress to the point where they were beyond repair. That can't have been unintentional damage.
That's rough.
All of that damage just
Yeah.
from trying on the like I believe it would be
Yeah.
that. It feels very
Something's
intentional.
up. Something's smelling a little fishy.
Hearing how badly my dress was mutilated crushed me, but my fiance's reaction at the seamstress enraged me. He kept minimizing the damage, pointing out how certain things absolutely could have been an accident. He lied out of his butt to the seamstress, telling her that the dress had an accident when his mother attempted to relive her model days. I corrected the course and said no, that she tried to put it on without my permission, knowing dang well that she didn't fit into it, and deliberately destroyed parts of it in the process. The real fun started when we got home. I told him that if she didn't pay, then I wanted to sue her for the damages to the dress. He told me some BS about how the cost of the dress didn't meet the thresholds for a lawsuit. Okay. I took my butt straight to the internet, posted to the legal advice subreddit, and Googled the thresholds for small claims court in Virginia before printing all of the responses I got and forcing him to read them. He conceded that she owed us something and called her with me sitting there. As I sat there, I crap you not, he argued with her for all of 5 minutes before she broke down sobbing, accused him of not loving her, called me trash for turning him against her, and how could money be so important than her love for, be more important than her love for him. He actually soothed her and told her that he understood, but I'm being super emotional over the dress and this would help it blow over. No!
Oh no.
No! Are you kidding me? You're throwing your fiance under the bus?
Yeah.
No. That's ridiculous. Come on.
Dang.
Like, your mom is an adult. Treat her like one.
Right.
She made a mistake, intentional or otherwise.
Yeah.
And she needs to own it for her actions.
Absolutely. This is just like
Monetarily.
you could just see how she's just the type of person to never own up to her mistakes
Yeah.
and to like always manipulate the situation to give any excuse to not do that. And then he's obviously learned from that as well. He's just blaming it all on someone else.
Very true.
My goodness.
She started babbling and sobbing, and he said that he'd talk to me. After they hung up, he had the nerve to turn to me and say that all he wanted was peace and to please just let him pay for the dress and let this go away. I wonder if he's very wealthy, and that's why he doesn't really care about the money. He's just like, I don't know, it's like $11,000. No skin off my back.
Totally fine.
I lost it. I screamed at him. I cried harder than I probably ever have cried because I honestly felt that he took her side over mine. He's prioritizing her feelings, at least.
Yeah.
I told him that it wasn't about the dress and that if he genuinely believed that this was over an overpriced dress at this point, then we needed to cancel the wedding and he and his mommy could have a nice vacation to Colombia without me.
Whoa.
That's where we're going. That's where we're right now.
Right now.
We argued and, like he's been doing, told me that he saw my point. I told him that I didn't want her at the wedding. Shockingly, he agreed. Wow. I feel like he's just saying whatever these people want to hear.
Well,
Like whatever OP wants to hear and whatever his mom wants to hear. He's like, yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean, if this is someone that just wants to keep the peace no matter what, he's got to have no opinions for himself.
I sat next to him the next day when he called her and told her that because of what happened, we couldn't have her at the wedding. I actually felt proud when he hung up on her after she screamed and sobbed about how he couldn't do this. I began to consider that maybe I was wrong about how he refused to stand up to his mother. That is, until I was on our shared iPad. I rarely use the iPad because I'm way happier with my Kindle, but I'll reach for the iPad in the rare event that my Kindle is out of juice and my phone is out of reach. While I was using it, what pops up are messages from future mother-in-law asking about the best way to purchase discounted flights to Colombia. I scrolled through the messages and he had folded the very next day saying that he had disinvited her for my sake, but still wanted her at the wedding. See, exactly what I said. He just tells them what they want to hear.
Yeah.
But the second someone else asks, like, it's probably just going to be an ongoing back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
That he'd slowly work on changing my mind, and hopefully on the weekend of the wedding, I'd be feeling forgiving and welcome her, and if not, I could deal with it.
Dang.
I lost my mother effing mind. I actually packed my bags. He was the one that ended up leaving to stay with his friend while I stayed in the house. The fight wasn't pretty.
Oh, no.
And that's about where we are right now. We have both committed to couples counseling. You definitely need that. It's a must. I feel played right now, and that's what he was trying to do, play both sides. Yep. He is a people pleaser for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We both agree that the best thing to do for us is to postpone the wedding until trust is reestablished. Deposits be danged. And if anyone asks, I tell them the entire story. Future mother-in-law has decided to come between us in the worst way. Future mother-in-law, for the most part, is fuming and trying to spin this into me being a trashy, greedy harpy that's determined to bring her and her precious baby nothing but misery. She's tried to come to our house several times to collect her baby and his belongings, but I haven't answered the door. Fiancé, to his credit, has blocked her on his phone and hasn't told her where he's living right now. He's gone no contact and has agreed to no contact until we begin therapy. Wow. What a switch from inviting her to the wedding again and then going no contact.
Yeah. He's really got no opinions for himself.
Yeah.
For real.
No spine on this guy.
Mm-mm.
He's turned over all of his passwords and the iPad so I can check his messages when I want to. And trust me, I'm checking. I love him. I want to be able to go the distance with him, but while future mother-in-law is in the picture, I just don't think I can. For F's sake, I'm looking through his email accounts and messages for contact from his mother. I can't even begin to explain just how effed up this is. Sorry for the long post. Please wish us luck in therapy. I'm having a hard time keeping my hopes up. This has been the worst month. And there is an update, but do you have any thoughts?
That's just rough. It really is those like small things that do like say a lot about who you are. And that could like it feels like at surface level it feels like a small situation to like have such a dispute in your marriage or soon to be marriage about, but like at the same time she's really not being listened to
At all. I mean, again, he's just flip-flopping.
Exactly.
Honestly, I feel like if he says he's going no contact now, but how long is that gonna last?
Right.
Right. But there is another update.
Oh boy.
I think it definitely is a good idea that they postpone the marriage, though.
For sure. For sure.
Do that until you're really secure in a relationship.
Yeah.
This has been the cherry to top off a not so fabulous week. To everyone that so bashed my husband, private messaged me to tell me how weak, pathetic I am, tell me I'm stupid. Trust me, you think I don't get how this looks to other people? He isn't getting away with anything. I know seeking help and counseling looks stupid to other people, but it's my relationship. Please respect that. Also, to the vicious people that are reading my posts and then immediately posting them to Facebook/other websites so they can post nasty things and try and figure out my identity, there's a special place in heck for you. If this keeps up, I can't post here anymore. I have too many people that are reaching out to me trying to guess my identity, future mother-in-law's identity, and it's becoming extremely stressful. The only reason I'm posting here is to ask other ladies here for advice on dealing with future mother-in-law that's getting increasingly aggressive. There's several new things to report. One being that my fiance has kept his end of the bargain. He's had no contact with future mother-in-law. Great.
Whoa.
How do I know? I'm religiously checking his accounts and she's also losing her mind. This week, I've woken up to the following. My Ring app has gone off 4 times, all at odd hours of the night. It's her. I have footage of her shoving notes under my door. Okay. Nasty notes shoved under the door demanding to talk to my fiance, accusing me of driving a wedge between them. And they're also in like magazine cutout letters.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's just like, you have 4 days. Please send my son home.
Yeah.
Text messages asking me why I'm forbidding contact between my fiance and his mother and how unnatural it is to stop a son from seeing his mom. I'm going to burn in heck and I'm disgraced to womanhood. She's come to my work. When I refused to see her, security escorted her out. When I pulled out of the parking garage, I saw her waiting by the employee entrance. Oh, she's stalking you now. That's terrifying. Fiance and I typically go shopping on Wednesday nights. She knows this because she's gone with us a couple of times. Guess who is waiting for us in the parking lot at 7 p.m.? She's full stalking you.
Boy. Wow.
Wow. We didn't get out of the car after we saw her pacing around the entrance. And we want you to enter watching full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime.
Easy.
Just enter that.
Easy.
Just enter OK Storytime. We want you to enter OK Storytime into your favorite podcast
There
app.
you go.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
There you go.
Or,
all right.
or whatever. There we go. And there is a little bit left of the story, but oh my goodness.
Yeah. She's gone off the rails.
Yeah. Fiance definitely needs to cut her off. Maybe for the long, like in the long run too.
Yeah. Or just like, I don't know,
Set
stand up
boundaries.
for himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
set
Say, hey,
boundaries.
mom, stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any
that's-
final thoughts?
It just feels like a big jump
Yeah.
from like, okay, mom, like, I'm sorry, to be like, okay, bye. Not gonna talk to you at all anymore.
That's
It's like,
it.
whoa,
It does.
whoa. That's way too like extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now she's showing a lot of extreme behavior too.
Yeah.
I'm documenting everything just in case she continues to get crazier. Fiance and I will be going to the local PD tomorrow to file a report and look into getting a temporary restraining order. Thank you to everyone that's offered me kind words, support, and even baked goods. You guys are wonderful. I really appreciate you. And that is the end of that story.
Wow.
Wowie wow. What a crazy one.
Wow.
I really need to know some facts.
Yeah.
I need to know, one, who paid for the dress originally.
Yes.
Are they rich? Because it seems like they might be. I mean, I feel like if you're paying for an $11,000 dress,
That's a lot.
you gotta be rich.
Even like 3,000 is a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you gotta have a little money.
Yeah.
But I think for OP's sake, cutting the mother off is probably, I feel like this is not the first time that this behavior has been there.
Yeah.
It's just the 1st
I'm
time it's
sure.
probably affected OP so much
Right.
with like the direct impact of the dress being ruined.
Yeah.
But that is the end of that story.
My sister belittled my engagement, so I don't want her at my wedding.
Get her out of there. She's a hater.
Hater for sure. I, 27 female, and my fiance, 30 male, have been together for about a year. We got engaged pretty quickly within that year, but we had extremely deep conversations of where we see ourselves in the next 5 to 10 years, and everything we discussed matched perfectly to what we both wanted. And we both were like, heck, we aren't getting any younger. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
By the way, this comes from Objective Soup 8855 in the r/storytime subreddit. I have had my share of bad relationships, and my last before my fiance left me in a depressed state. I had a miscarriage with them as well as a developed eating disorder because I was never good enough for them. After me and that person went our separate ways, I was single for 4 years. During those years, me and my sister became very close. Almost every weekend I spent with her and her fiance. Her fiance will become a very important part of this story later. But once I met my significant other, I became a little distant, and it wasn't on purpose, but it was because of how her fiance and how he treated my fiance at the time. My sister's fiance, though he will never admit it, always gave me a vibe, and I only ever dated black men. So when he first met my fiance, he said a quote, "You know, you look like a thug."
Oh my God. Just right off the bat. Opie's like, I think he kind of gives me vibes. And then he says something.
Because of all of his tattoos, but the crazy thing is I have more tattoos than he does. The second thing that to happen is in the area we live in, people on all kind of Coca-Colas can be common. Apparently, after one of our visits at their place, as we left, they went outside and found a pill on the sidewalk in front of their house and automatically assumed it was my fiance because sometimes he would make random sounds, so they thought he was on Coca-Colas. My fiance, by the way, has Tourette's. So the next time we visited their place, my sister confronted mine and asked if he was on.
Yeah, your family.
Nah, dude, he just has Tourette's.
Yeah, I mean, presumably you've talked about that before. I feel like that would have come up, and they're like, "Oh, he must be on substances." Yikes!
Oh, this is
keeps getting worse.
This keeps getting worse. Of course, he wasn't, and I told him this, and then he had to explain that he has Tourette's. And during both of these instances, neither of them apologized. Regardless, my fiance was feeling a certain way with them, and I didn't blame him at all for how he was feeling. But what was the nail on the coffin was I had a close friend who was going through a hard time. She was going through a divorce and just needed time out with friends. To make a long story short, when this friend of mine is going through a tough time, she often seeks spicy sleep for comfort. No judgment, but she tried to have a party of 3 with me and my fiance, which we politely declined and put her to bed. Now, you may be wondering where my sister and her fiance come into factor here. Well, my sister also knew this friend of mine, and when we were visiting at their house, she asked me how they were doing, knowing everything they were going through. I told my sister it's been rough for them, but they were doing all right, and I mentioned the party of 3, and me and my sister laughed it off. But then her fiance joined in and looked directly at my significant other and said, quote, "You are telling me you had a chance to have the spicy tango with 2 beautiful women and you didn't? I would have."
Ew. In front of your wife?
If the sister doesn't check in one way with remarks or like this,
she sucks.
Oh my
Cut her off.
gosh. My fiance became mortified by this comment, replied, "Yeah, I wouldn't have spicy tango with my fiance's best friend and take advantage of her in a very emotional, vulnerable state." But for the rest of the night, my sister's fiance kept going off on how hot my friend was and how he would have jumped on that opportunity. My sister, not even looking at us anymore, had nothing to say. That was the tip of the iceberg for us. And if you ask my sister, she will say that it never happened.
She's just ignoring the problem. She's just denying it because she's like, I don't know how to leave this relationship. But this guy is terrible.
What the heck?
Terrible. And she's not doing anything about it.
This guy is...
Ugh.
Oh, wow.
Terrible
wow.
guy.
Her fiance never said that. But the point of all of this is I noticed me and my sister were growing distant. So I tried to have a conversation about it with her. And when we talked, she told me bluntly that she didn't trust my fiance. And she thought our whole engagement was
She's projecting, for sure.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how much of this was her true opinion or the opinion of her fiance. But since then, she has become more and more distant from me and won't even talk to me at family gatherings.
Well, the problem here is that, so OP's brother-in-law is attracted to OP and is probably saying, like, oh, I hate her fiance because he's one and also he's jealous.
You could have had spicy tango with her and a friend, didn't it? You're crazy.
Yeah, he's jealous of this relationship, and the sister is putting all of this on OP, making it all her fault.
Yeah.
Because she's upset about her relationship.
Me and my fiance are planning to get married in the year 2026. And I had a conversation with my mom about not wanting my sister as a bridesmaid because of the tension that has been going on between us and how she generally does not support this wedding. But please support us when we go live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Where at, Sophia?
Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch.
Just join us live.
Tap it. Tap that profile.
I don't blame you, girl. Uninvite her.
Uninvite her. She's going to realize, hopefully down the line, that her partner is terrible, and hopefully leave that relationship. But right now, she is not supporting your relationship, and she is actively kind of going along with what her husband is saying. So just
Sophie Cologne, but OP has only dated black guys. So why is her sister having an issue now?
I think it's
That
just
is
the
weird.
husband. I think it's just
Yeah.
she just goes with whatever her husband says.
I think her fiance.
Oh, fiance.
Yeah. Please don't
Yeah.
marry this man.
Don't marry him.
Really weird. I haven't even asked her to be a bridesmaid yet, but my mother has told me that if I don't make her one, it will cause an even bigger divide in our relationship. Her energy that she has given to my whole engagement is not something I want in my wedding. She has not once supported my happiness that I have with the man that I want to marry, and I want to be very real that this man has saved me from a very dark time in my life. There are so many things that they don't see that he has done for me. My sister got married this year back in October, and even though I didn't 100% like her fiance, I supported their relationship and was there for her because I knew he made her happy, and that is all I wanted from her. But now it feels like she doesn't want the same for me. So am I the a-hole for not wanting her in my wedding? Absolute low not to Lino.
No, sir.
That
No,
is
sir.
so crazy. I'm
What?
surprised that you support that person.
Yeah, I don't think you should support him. I think he sucks, and I think he's dragging your sister down.
Yeah, agreed. OP only supported her because his sister likes him. Doesn't like him as a guy. But only,
Yeah, but it's like,
likes him. Yeah, but still, like, you don't need to do that.
No, sorry.
TLDR! So OP has been single for a long time, has been through relationship, and through that, has been really close with her sister and her sister's fiance. Recently, she has met a guy, we'll say black guy. This comes into context later. The guy has helped her through some hard times. OP is doing great, living her best life. And they found out, I like how you want your life to be. I like how I like my life to be. Let's just get engaged. So they get engaged. They go visit the sister. Find out sister fiance is a little bit racinino and does not like OP's fiance. Says something like that. So this is one red flag that we have from the sister's fiance. Another red flag is that OP and her fiance had a friend
Proposition them.
to have a tango of 3.
Et ménage à trois.
And they declined, saying, you're in a vulnerable state. We don't want that either. And we're going to say no. So they go to the sister's house, and the sister fiance mocks OP's fiance, saying, why would you sleep with 2 beautiful women? And the guy's like, look, I do not want to take advantage of people in vulnerable states. So the sister has thus not supported OP in any way, shape, or form of her wedding. And OP's like, look, I don't want you to be a bridesmaid of mine. And is like, am I the a-hole for that? And OP, you were not the a-hole for that because your sister and their fiance suck. So